This is Sports Radio 560 WQAM Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, guys.
Dude, we're playing. We're playing stuff. We're not on. I can hear myself.
We can hear you, too, but what are you playing?
I'm playing DCS stuff.
We're not hearing it.
I don't have anything funky going on. It's playing in the machine.
It's not playing on air.
All right. Well, I guess I don't have a DCS. This is the most unusual thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, hey, look, here we go.
Pearl Harbor is attacked, and America goes to war. Jorge enjoyed marginal success in the 1960s and 70s as a top 40 disc jockey in Yenamsville, North Dakota, and wound up sub-hosting for popular talk show host Neil Rogers, and then he died. You know, it's been said that, they said something. Join us tomorrow night when Biography looks at the life of Larry Hogan.
Oh, he's a little guy, kind of funny looking.
We'll start the real show after this.
If you're a sinning human a season, you're gonna go to limbo. If you're not a Christian, that is the reason you're gonna go to limbo. Limbo. You're gonna end up in limbo, the waiting room of limbo. Limbo. You're gonna end up in limbo, the waiting room of limbo. If you're a Jew, I'm sorry for you. You're gonna go to limbo. There's purgatory, but that's another story. You better off in limbo. Limbo. The waiting room of limbo. Limbo. The waiting room of limbo. Everybody, welcome to limbo. Husky. Waiting room. You're allowed to stand and sit down. Stand up and sit down. Because you never obeyed the laws of the Bible that were written by men who never wore pants. Please have a seat, you soon won't be leaving the waiting room of limbo. Old magazines and packs and TVs, that's what you get in limbo. 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 The waiting room of limbo. You're gonna go to limbo.
10:04, 560 WQAM. So I think that was an act of God that the program button wasn't pushed on the board here. And I can't imagine, not to say that other people have the keys to the studio, but I don't want to go making wild accusations that probably I bumped it somehow, even though it's way over here away from anything. So I have no idea. So sorry about that technical ineptitude there at the beginning of the show. So it's still George in for Neil until Monday, for those of you who are tuning in late. And those of you who missed yesterday, just a little bit of follow-up on the whole school thing, because now the repercussions are coming out of the whole voucher thing. Just a couple little follow-up notes. And I might have dreamed it. It might have been a drug-induced dream that I had, but I can swear that somebody called yesterday that made a point that it's only going on in 4 schools, only the 4 worst schools. And the students who go there are available to get school vouchers so that they can take these vouchers and cash them in for tuition at any private school, including the religious schools. But that's this year. Next year, it'll be 169 schools as they change the standards, and on it goes. Like I said, this is just the beginning of this whole big plot to use your tax dollars to fund private school education, including religious schools, which is the part that burns me the most. And the teachers union hates this idea. They're opposed to it in the Herald today. And Joe Kahn, spokesman for the Washington-based Americans United for Separation of Church and State, is opposed to it and says it's unconstitutional and there will be legal ramifications and lawsuits, and they're going to take the state to court. People will. There will be court cases challenging this because you can't use tax dollars to fund religious executions. Institutions. You can't send tax dollars to churches or schools that are run by churches. Not that we want to say that in these schools they pursue a religious agenda in the education thing, and which I don't really care about that. I don't care if you want to brainwash your own children. That's fine. I just don't want to pay you to brainwash your own children. Be my guest, but don't expect to do it with my money, my tax dollars. That's what offends the rest of us. And the people that don't understand the concept of separation of church and state, and it's usually very religious people that want to bring prayer into schools and religious education into schools and want to make their religious beliefs part of law and part of legislature, like the obscenity issues and the abortion issue and the euthanasia issue. They want to bring their religious position into the legal system based on that. These people don't understand that separation of church and state is designed to protect you, the religious person, from a government telling you how to pursue your religion and what kind of religious views you can have. Now, yes, Christianity is the overwhelmingly popular religion here in the United States. It isn't the only one, but it's the fattest one, no question about that. So these people would not have a problem with a Christian government and a government imposing Christian ideals upon people, but everyone else would have a problem with that. And you as a Christian would not want your government taking another religion's position and putting another religion's position into the schools or into law. You would freak out if 5 times a day they rang a bell and we all had to roll our carpets out and face Mecca. And I don't want the people coming up going, oh, but this country was founded by Christians. It was, founded on the basis of religious freedom. It was founded on the basis of religious persecution, at least in the case of the Pilgrims, economically in the case of Jamestown, but the Pilgrims, they were persecuted. So it's very hypocritical to persecute other people religiously in the law when, based on the fact that the country was founded by refugees fleeing political, religious persecution, the government imposing its religious views on these people, the Pilgrims. It's very hypocritical. But that's not what I wanted to get into today. That's just a tie-in to the school thing. And, we have yet to see if this whole voucher system is going to fly, because there are going to be people taking the state to court over the fact that tax dollars are going to churches, and that's what's going to happen. And that's what everybody's all pissed off about. But the religious thing is, well, let's stay with the religion and school type thing. They want equal time. Equal time, that's going to be hard to accomplish. Like in high schools when they go into evolution and geology and the history of the world, etc., and so on, the religious people want equal time to teach creationism in school. What's there to teach? I spent an afternoon with a kid and taught her creationism. She knows the creationism of 3 or 4 different world religions already, including Judeo-Christianity. How much time is that going to take? God did it. There you go. Next subject. You don't have to deal with Jurassic, Triassic, Cretaceous period. You don't have to deal with all of the geology, carbon dating. You don't have to deal with all of that stuff. God did it. That's the short version. You can get into the long version. What would that take? A period? 55 minutes of a class to do the long version of the biblical creation story? And you're lucky today, Joe, even though I'm doing Bible stuff today. I didn't bring my Bible today. I'm going to have to do it all from memory, which is no problem because, I've read it forwards and backwards. You could teach the long version of creation in one class period. I don't have a problem with that. By all means, tell the kids all of the creation stories of all of the world's religions. You could do them all in one class period. I mean, how complicated can they be? The Bible one. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And then God said, let there be light, and there was light, and then he created everything else, the rivers and the lakes and the streams and the clouds and the flowers and the trees and the animals, and man, took man's rib, created Eve. They ate the fruit. They were cast out. Angel, flaming sword, rough life, painful childbirth. How long did that take? 15 seconds. So go, be my guest. Teach creation in school so that the children can have a good laugh, like my daughter did when I told her all these wonderful stories, including the ones older than the Bible. By all means, be my guest. 11 after 10 on 560 WQAM.
Only one South Florida radio station has the hammer, and you're listening to it. It's Goldberg, weekday afternoons at 2, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Father O'Toole, God.
In the 50s, Robert Young made people laugh, and Father Knows Best. Now, this great series is back, starring a few Catholic priests who like it young in the return of Father Knows Best.
Step into the confessional, Billy.
I don't know, Father. This makes the 47th time I've been in there this week.
Oh, Billy, you want to be a good Catholic, don't you?
Yeah, but does everybody get a spanking?
Father Knows Best. It's the Vatican's best-kept secret, and you've got a private seat for all the fun. Just enter the rectory from the rear.
All right, Billy boy, it's time for your flute lesson.
But, Father, your flute has only one hole, and it doesn't make any noise.
Oh, it will, Billy. It will.
Father Knows Best. Once you've seen this new sitcom, you'll wonder why you've never heard about it.
Let me introduce you to St. Peter.
Father Knows Best. Going to church may not seem very entertaining, but there really is something funny going on here.
I'm just off my rocker today. It must be that, you know what, I'm extra wired on caffeine because Baskin-Robbins was in on the first team show, bringing the cappuccino, whatever the hell they're called.
Blast.
The cappuccino blast. And it was a blast, all right. Sugar and double dose of caffeine this morning, so I'm very hopped up. I'm very wired. Taking care of some business real quickly here because we are whoring the show this week while the old man's gone. The Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show is going on this weekend. Isn't this weekend? So I'm going to read this thing here. QAM invites you to catch all the action of the Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show this weekend, like I said, from the Howard Johnson Hotel located on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Lots of QAM activities from the QAM van parked right in front of the Howard Johnson's Hotel. For room information, call the Fort Lauderdale Beach Howard Johnson's at 954-563-2451. See, I paid for this envelope I just got. See how it works around here? Joe, you taking notes? So also on business, we've got lunch coming in today from, where's the menu? Unsubbed, which is one of these power smoothie, funky pita sub salad places in Miami, 95 Northwest 1st Street. Haven't had any food from there yet, so we'll see if it's good or what the deal is, et cetera, and so on. What else from business? I guess that's it. So the God thing. And just to bring people up to date who haven't heard George's God thing before. Yes.
Is this going to be a religious show?
Okay. Pretty much. I mean, I got the other stuff. We've got updates on the school things, more new information on the school thing. We can talk about the Chinese spy. We can do more on We can do more on the school voucher thing. Whatever the hell they want.
Just wondering.
But basically, that's what's eating my craw today. I like to do one a week. Nobody wanted to talk about the women's issues. I tried repeatedly to get people to talk about the women's issues. Women, your feet are neglected. The man isn't giving you orgasms. Please, I tried, but we don't have a female audience. Unless we're giving something away, all of a sudden they come crawling out of the woodwork. Or if it's some kind of a bigoted issue they can sink their teeth into for some reason, they like to jump up for that. But, standing up for their right to get a foot massage and an orgasm from men, apparently they have no interest. Or they don't know what they're missing. In any event, so Friday we're going to hook the thing up. If my friend John is listening, the professional masseur. Is it masseur or masseuse? You'd think I'd know.
I've heard masseuse.
Whatever. The rubbing guy. He's going to be here on Friday. Janina's going to be here on Friday. We're going to get her a foot massage, and any of the ladies in the building also who would like a foot massage. We'll arrange that. You'll be the pimp. You'll be setting up schedules.
Josh Friedman wanted a foot massage.
Okay, then.
It'd be a good trick to play on your friend.
Yeah, that'd
Walt
be funny.
Friedman, the Beast, Hank in here.
No, I don't want Josh Friedman in these studios, at least not sitting down on any of the chairs. With all due respect. With all due disrespect to Josh Friedman. So if you've never heard the George religious shows before, it goes something like this. I don't know if there is a God. I am an agnostic. I don't have a problem with God. God is my buddy. I don't fear the judgment day. I would like there to be a God. And I would like there to be a judgment day. And I wish very strongly for a judgment day. And not only do I want there to be a judgment day, I want there to be a judgment day with big bleachers so that we can all sit there and watch everyone get judged. And I have no fear about standing before the throne of God and explaining my life before the big bearded guy, if there is one. No fear, no problems. I feel much more secure now than I did when I was a Christian. And I do have a lot of Christian history for those of you who didn't catch any other shows. Speaking of Christian history, by the way, if I may deviate, tragedy in the family. A niece, a daughter of my sister in Montana, they live in the Yak Mountain Range area. It's not a town. It's an area, and all there is a trading post / gas station / post office in the middle of this wilderness. And we are talking a wilderness for, 100 miles in every direction, except that, Libby, Montana is the closest town to it. But basically, there's nothing out there. And some of the houses have power and some don't. And the house that my relatively newlywed, about a year or so ago, niece and new mother and her new husband were staying in the house that he, with the help of his family, built, a log cabin, 2-story log cabin that he designed, and it burnt down and came crashing in on their heads. They were awakened by the burning roof crashing in on their head, on their beds. They got out with the baby without getting scathed by the fire, but everything in the house, including the family dog, did not make it out. All the wedding presents, everything, they had everything new. It was all, it was a big community effort getting them all set up, both sides of the family. It's all gone. So I called the sister, and since I am a heathen, I didn't say thank God that they're that they got out okay, and I didn't say that I would be praying for them. I said I'd be sending them a check, because that's all I can do as a worldly secular person that I am. And she said, thank God, because all of our friends have been calling up saying, thank God that they're okay and our prayers are with you, but no one has called to offer any money or goods up to this point. So thank you for that. So I'll be cutting them a check. So just on a side, by the way, they're born again Christian for what it's worth, as my sister is. But I'm sure it was God that helped them get out alive. Now, why is this phone ringing? That's the strangest thing when I already had it on Do Not Disturb. The kooky, possessed by the devil phone in here. So basically, the whole point of the whole God discussion today is, and especially in the wake of this school voucher and separation of church and state thing, is I really think that we can agree to disagree. Because I do. Now listen to this. Somebody ringing that phone.
You could have answered it.
I've got the Do Not Disturb.
Maybe it's God calling for you.
Hello, is this God? Hello? Who are you? You called me. Who are you? Why are you calling this line? This is the on-air line. You're on the air. At least I am. Stop bugging me at this extension. Okay, Lee. Go back and sell something, all right? Good luck to you. Love you. Lee Cutler, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, Lee Cutler. Should have guessed.
The bane of your existence is that we don't like Lee Cutler?
No, I
right.
like Lee Cutler. It's just easy to get
Anyway,
on.
that was very goofy. That thing's going to be ringing all day long. So I have Christian people and friends and families, and we agree to disagree, and I think that we can do that in this country as long as the religious people, whatever religion you are, understand that we really have a problem with you bringing the religious views into the legislature and into the schools, because you can't argue with God. God said it. He's not a liar. He's all-knowing. No, there you go. Here's the phone again. Hello, God line. Yes. Yes.
Unbelievable.
Bye. I don't know what to
Just unplug it at the base.
There, I hit the IO. Do you think that's going to work? Because
No.
I have the DND, now I hit the IO. Let's see if that helps anything.
Who's that?
That was Lee again.
What
So
is
anyway, where was I? Separation of church and state. We can agree to disagree. You can't argue with God. The only problem is God really didn't say anything. Man said that God said. All of these religious books, all of these religious views, man said that God said. In the letters to the editor this morning, and I don't know why they print these things. I don't know why they print sermons in the letters to the editor. Francis Mahoney from Fort Lauderdale, and I don't even understand this. It is not always convenient for a mother to give birth to a child. However, many courageous moms do so every day. Likewise, it is not always easy to keep God's commandments, but he tells us that the reward is eternal life. No, Francis, he didn't tell us that. Some people wrote that down. Some people told us that God said that. Some people who claimed that God told them that wrote that down. And that makes it as valid as if I have a legal pad right here and you have one in there also. And Joe Costello could write down, George is the Son of God. And if you believe in George, you'll go to heaven. You could write that down. That doesn't make it so. Even though Joe Costello was alive right now and you could question him and you could make him take a polygraph test. And so some of us do not want to take humans' words for it. Oh, but you have to have faith. Understand something, that if you have faith in a story, you're having faith in the storyteller, not the subject of the story. The storyteller could be a really good storyteller, and the hero of his story could be a very brave and noble hero without flaw. But the story is only as valid as the storyteller's honesty. We never met these people. We don't know who these people were. We don't know if they really existed, the people who supposedly wrote this stuff down many years after the events took place, by the way. So you're asking me to have faith in the words of a man that I never met. Jesus never wrote anything down. His followers, his groupies, supposedly wrote the stuff down that he said, years later, by the way. And presumably they got it all right and didn't misquote Jesus at all. And they're the ones that said that he's the Son of God. And they're the ones that said that he's the Son of God. That by believing in him we should not perish but have everlasting life. Some of us don't want to take the word of humans for anything. Some of us are very skeptical. Some of us like a little bit more than just a story in a book, and that's all you have. And when we come back from the break, we'll get into some examples, and then we'll open the phones up, and I'll see if anybody can answer some of the very specific questions I will have today, some of the challenges. We'll be doing the religious challenge today, the God challenge, the challenge for all of the clergy out there who keep taking people's monies by rehashing the same old swill that they've been rehashing for thousands of years. 1028 on 560 WQAM.
Kim Bocamper talks sports. Weekends right here on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Sister Mary Catherine, Jesus.
Oh, this isn't a bit, by the way. It's the Reverend Cleophas Robinson from his new album, I Shall Know Him. Catch it. So anyway, so here's the challenge, here's the deal, because some of us need a little bit more than that. For example, the religious people are always attacking science, which is all they can do to support their claims, is to attack everything that discounts it and basically proves it all to be a bunch of crap. Because they have no material of their own. And by material, I mean material, things you can put your hands on, things you can put under a microscope, things you can analyze. Because that's how science works. And the response from the religious people is always, oh, that's not the way God works. God works in mysterious ways. Well, you know what? That's the way the real world works. You don't need, if you want proof that science is real, first of all, you're listening to my voice right now, as it is being carried by invisible waves to your radio. Waves that we can't see, but they exist. How do you know they exist? You don't have to take my word for it. You're hearing my words. There you go. The radio waves exist, magnetic waves. A little diaphragm in this little microphone is turning my sound waves, vibrations in the air, into electromagnetic waves, which the transmitter transmits, and then your antenna picks it up, and an amplifier amplifies those magnetic waves into your speaker, and you get sound. That's overly generalized, but that's essentially how radio and television and all that stuff works. You can look around at the buildings. Everything that you see that didn't occur naturally is a product of science. The clothes that you're wearing, your car, the airplanes flying through the sky, there you go. Now the Bible, just to take one of them, because after all, it is the biggest one in the country, and the one that's causing all the problems in our lives by trying to intrude itself into the lives of those of us who want nothing to do with it, except as comic relief, which is all that it's good for anymore, or ever as far as I'm concerned. The Bible makes very specific claims that if you found those claims in a scientific book, you would find them outlandish. And like when I was a little kid, the next door neighbor got a chemistry set. It was a chemistry magic set. It was a combination chemistry and magic set. It was basically all these magic tricks that you can do with a chemistry set and all these games that you could do with this chemistry set. And among the other things, including turning the water into wine, the different, litmus-infused water liquids that they had in there that turned, from clear into purple and then clear again, depending on what you mixed in them, which was kind of cool. The water into wine trick. But it had a baking soda vinegar rocket kit in there, and it had the samples of baking soda and vinegar, and we read the instructions on how it works. If you mix baking soda and vinegar, it's an acid and a base, and it makes a lot of foam, and that's what is going to propel your rocket into the air, and we followed the instructions, and what do you know? The rocket went into the air. It went up into the air. In the instructions, it said, when you run out of the baking soda and vinegar provided in this kit, you can use regular household, vinegar. We recommend the white clear vinegar and any, Arm & Hammer baking soda, any baking soda. And I was very dubious. I said, no way. They've got, funky specific chemicals in this kit. No way that just the regular household vinegar and stuff will do it. And what do you know? We tried it, and it worked. The rocket went up into the air. And I said, well, this can't be so. And I went home to my house. I said, maybe this can't be right. And I put a bunch of baking soda in a glass, poured some vinegar in. Hey, what do you know? Big mess. It worked exactly the way that it said it would work. That's how science works. Also in this kit, there's the floating egg. Put an egg into a glass. It sinks in tap water. Stir in a bunch of salt. Stir it up. Mix it up. Dissolve the salt. The egg will float. What do you know? The egg floated, just like it said it would. When we went to school and they taught us about the rainbow, very different version than the one in the Bible, from the one in the Bible. Taught us about the rainbow, not a promise of God. The prismatic effect of the sunlight interacting with the raindrops, reflecting them back into your eyes, splitting them up into their component colors. They said you can try this experiment at home with a garden hose. Make the hose do a nice fanny spray kind of a thing. And then get the sun behind you, spray the hose out in front of you, you'll see a rainbow. I said, no way. It can't be that easy. I went home. What do you know? It's that easy. One of the first things I told my kid, you want to find a rainbow, honey? You see where the rain is? If the sun's behind you and the rain is in front of you, you'll see a rainbow. And what do you know? There it is. See, the Bible, religionists throughout history, all of the religions, by the way, they sought to answer man's questions. Because whoever could answer man's questions, guess what? That was the guy in charge. That was the smartest guy around. From the very beginning, we all had questions, just like the little kids ask you questions. Everyone asked questions throughout history. From the time we had language and the ability to ask questions, we were asking questions. Why is the sky blue? What's the big red hot thing? What's that rainbow? Why does the rain fall? What's that water coming from the heaven? What causes that? And of course, they didn't have science. They didn't have a clue. So everyone, all over the world, made up answers. And whoever had the cleverest answer, that was the guy that they believed. And everyone else was put to death or, whatever. And this was the mouthpiece of God, which is what these clergy people claim to be, the mouthpiece of God. Well, where's your God ID? I'm sorry, I'm not going to take your word for it. Where is your God ID? By whose authority do you collect money in the name of God? By whose authority do you tell people what God wants them to do? Don't hold your book up. I've read it. Don't shake your book at me. Because anybody can write a book. Where's your God ID? Where do you have the ability to produce any of the effects that are in your book? Can you walk on water? Can you fly? Can you raise the dead? Can you heal the sick? Can you assure me that the path to salvation that you're trying to sell me is going to get me to heaven? Have we gotten a phone call or a visit from someone who you succeeded in getting into heaven? Who accomplished getting into heaven according to your plan? Where's the phone call? Because some of us are not going to take your word for it. We're just not going to believe what humans say. You got to believe God's word. It's not God's word. It's man's word. And men are liars. Is it break time already? I could just go on all day long and watch me. 21 till 11 on 560 QAM.
This is 560 QAM.
The Bible. If you like the book, you'll love the board game. Introducing Go to Hell from Milton Bradley, the board game that tests your faith in God while challenging your knowledge of biblical quotes.
Okay, everybody ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, first question. The meek shall inherit the blank.
Flatware.
Male pattern baldness.
The Earth. That means you'll inherit the Earth.
Right. You move ahead 5 spaces. You other guys, go to hell.
Go to hell. The exciting game where you win by forming a deep personal relationship with God before the timer runs out.
Okay, on the 7th day, God did what?
Golf. He went to one of those all-you-can-eat brunch places.
You just puttered around?
Wrong. All of you, go to hell. It was a good book, but now it's a great game. Go to hell. The biblical board game from Milton Bradley.
Go to hell. I think I'm already there. 16 till 11, 560 WQAM. Our food's here already. Joe just went to get it, so we'll be giving you a report shortly about that. So here's the God challenge very quickly, if I may, because the Bible makes very specific claims about salvation, flying, walking on water, healing the sick, raising the dead, etc., and so on. And I've never seen anyone accomplish any of those things with God power. I see them accomplishing all of those things with science power, with the exception of the raising the dead, because there is no coming back from that. There's near death. Near death means exactly that. Near death, as in almost dead, not quite dead, but they got better. That's near death. No one has come back from the death, only the cockroaches. But as far as healing the sick, I was in the church, and we had lots of healing services, and people supposedly got sick, but you know what? They died later anyway. Oops. From the same illness that they were supposedly cured from. Oops. They got better, but then they got worse. So God healed them, but only temporarily, apparently. Elijah the prophet, first of all, Elijah and Moses had a novel way of crossing rivers and bodies of water. They parted before them. I've never seen anyone part any water. Here's the God challenge. A priest, a clergyman, please call up a clergyman. We'll go to a body of water. You can use God to cross the body of water. I'll use science. I will bring a boat, or I will use a bridge. Let's see who gets across first. If you win, I'll give you everything I own. Let's have a flying contest. Elijah the prophet ascended into heaven. Jesus ascended into heaven. Elijah took a chariot, but the chariot was sent by God. So let's have a flying contest. You bring God's power, and I'll bring science's power, and let's see who can fly. I have a variety of options available at my disposal. I could bring a balloon, a hang glider, an ultralight, an airplane, a rocket, all of which are creations of man, creations of science. You bring God power. Let's see who gets the highest. Healing the sick. Medical science had to fight every scrap of knowledge that medical science ever achieved, including and up until today, has been in direct conflict of the religious people who oppose them at every turn. From the very beginnings of making it a sin to cut into human flesh to examine what's on the inside of a dead carcass so that they could perform surgery. And every other scientific accomplishment in the world of medical science has been opposed by the church because they're in direct competition with each other. So let's have a sick person. I'll provide the sick person. You bring the power of God that you profess to wield, that you keep spouting from the pulpit as if it were a tangible thing, and I'll bring a doctor. I'll bring a medical scientist, and let's see who treats the illness better. Let's see who can make the person well. Every answer to every question that you've ever had, and we don't have the answers to all of our questions. We have more than we did yesterday, and every day we find out more and more. But religion, all of the religions, every single religion of the world, they have not answered any question at all. They've made up a bunch of answers, and they're all wrong. They're all absolutely wrong. Every one, every religion, every answer, they're all wrong. At the very least, they can't be substantiated. Substantiated, as in without substance. They have no substance. They can't be verified from veracity, the truth. I chuckled out loud, I guffawed when I was driving down the road, and I saw the truth fish eating the Darwin fish. I laughed because I thought, how stupid is this person? It's the truth because they said it's the truth. It's the truth that can't be verified. It's the truth that can't be substantiated. Thank you very much, Unsubbed. Mr. Unsubbed Dude, that looks great. Jeff, can't wait to have my power smoothie. As soon as we...
It's an unsubbed smoothie.
It's an unsubbed smoothie. I'm sorry, that's a trademark, TM.
Very good.
So it's an unsubbed smoothie. We got the fat-burning smoothie in there. I can't wait to try it out.
As well as others. Many good things.
We'll be lunching right after the water walking contest. That looks spectacular. Hollywood, hello.
Hey, how are you doing?
All right.
Two things. First of all, it used to be a masseur was a male and a masseuse was a female.
Oh.
Now it's massage therapist under the Department of Health.
Thank you for clearing that up.
The second thing is I can remember rock and roll back in the 50s. All these religious zealots. Rock and roll was a curse of Satan.
That's
and everything
right.
else.
Oh! Thank you for reminding me. Reverend Wayne Lagrone was quoted in the paper saying that the kids that did this thing were acting under satanic intervention.
Yeah,
so obviously, what we need to do is get to church more often, and this won't happen. Go ahead, sir.
That was good. I just want to bring that up. Rock and roll was a scourge of the 50s.
It absolutely is, sir.
Thanks.
Just ask Marilyn Manson. No question there. Nobody's going to challenge me on the water walking contest or the flying contest. Or you name the contest. You pick any of the things in the Bible that you claim from the pulpit every Sunday, or at least, or 3 times a week, that you claim to be so. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he sent his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. Okay. Prove it. Oh, you can't prove it. Well, sorry. That's how science works. Darwin came up with a theory. A theory is a thought of evolution. Now it is a fact. It is a fact because it's proven. It has been proven many, many times over by many people throughout many periods of history in many different parts of the world who spoke different languages. We have bones, a mountain of skeletons of all kinds of things that don't exist anymore. We have their ancestors, slightly different. You could prove evolution with one freaking fossil, the Archaeopteryx fossil, the lizard bird. It's a lizard. It's got teeth. You can plainly see the teeth. You can plainly see that it's a lizard. And then out beyond its fingertips, you can plainly see the aura of feathers around it. Such a thing does not exist. Supposedly, if the Bible is to be believed, God made the birds, birds. He didn't make lizard birds. The Bible didn't say anything about lizard birds, as it didn't say anything about the dinosaurs, because guess what? They had no idea. There was no archaeology when those barbarians wrote the Bible. So I'm still waiting. Maybe we'll get a challenge to the water walking contest, or the healing contest, or the flying contest, or any other contest you can name, or the question answering thing. And they always say, well, how do you explain? You got it backwards, like Neil has said over and over again. You're the one making the claim, so you're the one that has to support your claim. If you say that there's life after death, the burden of proof is on you. I'm not saying if there is or there isn't. I'm just saying all of you earthly religions, all of you clergymen, you're liars and thieves. That's what I'm saying. And the books that you're quoting from are a pack of lies. It's as simple as that. And if there is a God, he's laughing at all of you. And that's why I pray for a judgment day. Because I want to be sitting in the bleachers when the clergy goes up before the throne. And when God asks them, who told you to take money in my name? What are they going to say? You did. No, he did not, you liars. Who told you to tell people what I wanted them to do, Mr. Clergyman? You did. No, I did not, you liar. If there is a hell, and I pray for a hell, the deepest, darkest, hottest, nastiest level of hell will be reserved for these God liars. I have no doubt of that, if there is a hell. These fakers. Plantation, hello.
Hey, I don't want to get in an argument with you, okay?
All right. Let's have a discussion instead. How's that?
Great. You wanted some scientific proof, and when I went to college, I went to a Bible college.
Yeah.
Of course, when I was going through that,
so you got filled up with all the science.
No, I kind of went there actually because my brother was going there. To be honest with you, but I'm a Christian, but I wanted some proof too.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't want, I looked at the Bible and I said, you know what? Is this a bunch of malarkey? Because you're right. You can't prove anything in there.
That's right.
You can't. You can't prove that we're not a molecule and a fingernail of a giant.
That's right.
Can't prove anything.
Absolutely.
But
you can prove lots of things. We've discovered a lot about our environment and nature and the universe. Through science, we have discovered a lot of truths that can be proven and reproven.
That's great, and that's exactly why I called. Because
okay.
I looked for some physical facts. I did some studying.
Yes.
And I looked at, for instance, the sun. The sun loses a certain amount of its energy every year.
Sure.
That's correct, right? I mean, it's a physical fact that 10 years from now, the sun will be about 12 feet smaller in diameter than it is right now.
Right. It'll eventually expand. It'll eventually engulf all of the inner planets. It's coming to an end.
And it will explode, right.
Oh, it's not going to explode. It's going to turn into a red giant, then it's going to shrink back down. That's what our sun is going to do. Some stars explode, but not ours.
The point is that if you go back 65 million years when dinosaurs were supposed to, and I'm sorry, I'm not being a jerk here. I'm telling you a physical fact that I found that I find.
You're very polite.
That if you go back 65 million years, the size of the sun would have been such that the temperature on the Earth would have been about 4,000 degrees.
That's not true.
Oh, that is true.
No, it's not.
Oh, it is.
It's not, because that couldn't have been.
Well, that's the way it is.
But it's not the way it is. See, you went to a Bible college, so you got filled up with a whole bunch of pseudoscience, because I've been to the lectures and I've read the books of pseudoscience that try to substantiate the Bible with pseudoscience, and they're wrong in all of their conclusions. They're throwing numbers in there haphazard with absolutely no knowledge.
Well, the
temperature on the Earth was not 4,000 degrees when the dinosaurs were around.
No, it would have been
dinosaurs.
George.
Yes.
My point is that if you go back 65 million years and you add that much energy back to the sun,
but
and enlarge it to the size it would have been, George.
Your astronomy is flawed.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's very physical. It's a physical fact.
It's not. Thank you very much. We can go back and forth all day long. It's not. It's not. 65 million years ago, the sun hasn't changed in 1 billion years, and it's not going to change for another billion before it starts to physically change significantly to the point where it's going to affect life on Earth, with the exception of the solar flares and everything, which are seasonal. The dinosaurs existed. They couldn't have existed if the temperature on Earth was 4,000. Is he saying that the dinosaurs didn't exist? Was that the point? Mobile and Sunrise, hello.
Hey, I heard you talking earlier about the school vouchers.
Yes, sir.
Well, all I can tell you is the pigeons are coming home to roost. This is what the people of the state of Florida got for electing the moron Jeb Bush as their governor.
You got that right.
This guy stands for nothing, like his father stood for nothing, and like his brother stands for nothing.
Stands. I disagree with you. He stands for a lot. He stands for fascist, right-wing, goose-stepping Christianism.
He's owned by the Christian Ayatollahs and the NRA.
Yep.
And we will reap the benefit of all the money that they have spent to buy his ass.
There you go.
And as long as he's in office, this is the kind of crap that we can expect.
No question.
So, there's a saying that people get the kind of government they deserve. Well, unfortunately, we're getting the kind of government that we deserve for electing this idiot.
There you go.
And there's just no two ways about it. The whole situation is not going to get any better. It's only going to get worse until and unless we get him the hell out of office.
Amen, brother.
Simple as that. Because as long as these Christian Ayatollahs are in there, all they're going to be doing is trying to get their agenda in place, and their agenda has absolutely nothing to do with progress. They want to turn the clock back.
They want to make another church state, like the Holy Roman Empire. That's exactly what they want to do.
Or Iran.
Right.
That's what they want.
Right.
They want to have a situation like they have in Iran or in Israel. Why do you think Israeli politics are so bad? Because you've got these religious fanatics that are just as stupid and short-sighted
as any other religious fanatic.
As the Muslim fanatics.
Right. Absolutely,
and as long as those people are in control of the government, of any government, they're going to go nowhere.
You're right. Thank you, sir. Amen.
Sure.
I mean, he could just go on and on all day, and I'd love listening to it. But you know what? I miss the witch dunkings. I can't wait till we become another Christian state and we can get back to that witch dunking and burning at the stake. That's good spectator sport. 3 till 11, 560 QAM.
Give your brain the day off and listen to the big dog, Depot and Goldie. Mornings at 6, only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Every good Christian knows a game to play, and it's not so very hard to do. The name of the game is the Bible says, if you interpret it the way we do, tell people you know the way. Invite them to your house, take their possessions away, and then you burn it down. You can get somebody to believe anything if you make the Bible say it's true. No matter what you do, you can be guilt-free. The Lord will always forgive you. Pick up a poisonous snake, wave it all around. Find a abortion clinic and shoot a doctor down. Everybody, play along with me, okay? Come on, you young Republicans. Beat the crap out of your kids. You're to the right of me bow. Go on a pilgrimage and pass the Kool-Aid around. Fight off the chicken's head to make a sacrifice.
11:03 on 560 WQAM. So this guy got me thinking, because one of the lectures that I attended, one of the things that I read, they tried to prove the age of the Earth by the dust on the moon, saying that so many tons of stellar dust falls on the Earth every year, and if that much stellar dust falls on the Earth, then the same amount must therefore fall on the moon. But when the astronauts went to the moon, with the power of science, by the way, their footprint was only half an inch deep, and if there was that much stellar dust on the moon, that would have been over 10 feet deep. This is the kind of convoluted logic, like the astronomy guy whose numbers were totally in error, used to basically, again, shoot holes in science because they can't support their own claims. So the only option open to them is to destroy the credibility of science, which you can't argue with the credibility of science, at least, not the things that are apparent to us, which is everything except what is found naturally. But that's not the issue. The Bible doesn't say the earth is X amount of years old, even though, the people that say that the earth is only 6,000 to 10,000 years old are doing so by counting the generations. Well, wow, that's accurate. That's good paleontology there. Good archaeology. The Bible, I'm talking about the Bible making specific claims that the man standing on the pulpit is sending out there and expecting you to believe. He's saying that it's true. Like, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, be thou moved, be thou removed. So let's have a mountain moving contest. Clergymen against me. You bring the Bible and the power of God and your faith that you claim to have, at least when you stand up there on the pulpit. You're spouting, you're expecting people to believe what you're telling them, so you must believe it also, mustn't you? So I'll bring a bulldozer, you bring a Bible, let's see who can move that mountain. Hello? Oh, I'm sorry. I haven't gotten any responses to my challenge, which I keep making over and over again. The Bible makes very specific claims, and the people standing behind the pulpit expect you to believe it. And I know that the guy standing on the pulpit doesn't believe it himself. He doesn't believe Matthew 6:24 through 34, where it says, "Consider the birds of the air; they toil not, neither do they sow. The lilies of the field, they toil not, neither do they sow, but the Heavenly Father cares for them. Are you not more important than they are? Do not worry about tomorrow. Your Heavenly Father will provide." Well, if they believe that, those words that supposedly came out of Jesus' mouth that are written in red letter in my Bible, if they believe those words, why are they passing a collection plate? Certainly, God appointed that person up there on the stage as his agent. That's why they're up there behind a pulpit, right? That's what they would have you believe, is that they're God's agent on earth, all the way from El Papa to the lowliest deacon or minister. God called them, they will have you believe. Well, they don't believe that. They're lying, and they don't believe the Bible because they're passing a plate. They prove their lack of faith every time they pass the plate because they're asking you to support them when Jesus very plainly told them that God will support them. Well, these are God's agents. Certainly God will not let anything happen to them, God's spokespeople on earth. That would make God look bad if his agents were starving to death and if their clothes were in rags. So why are they asking the people for money when God promised that he would provide? Unless maybe they don't believe that quote from Jesus. And if they don't believe that quote from Jesus, what else don't they believe that they're lying to you about? Mobile in Virginia Key, hello.
Hey, how you doing, George?
Hey, how you doing?
This is Tom, by the way.
Yes.
One of the reasons why I had to call is the guy who gave you the 65 million year old number saying the sun would be 4,000 degrees.
Yeah.
Well, I can instantaneously disprove that. If it was 4,000 degrees 65 million years ago, there would not be any liquid water on the face of this planet.
Of course.
And at that time, the surface of Australia, which is very well fossilized, was a seabed.
Uh-huh.
So 65 million years
That's a
ago.
bunch of crap. It's the same. It's the pseudoscience that they always come out with. And once again, what does that have to do with their claim?
Right. And it's a funny thing also, my cousins live in Tyler, Texas, and their kids actually, I saw one of their textbooks, it actually stated verbatim, scientists produced fossils to disprove the existence of God.
There's a fossil factory. There's no question, and they're implanting them with lower yielding radioactive isotopes that are found in nature right now.
Yeah, we have enough time to put iridium and everything.
They're getting in there on the molecular level. You realize with the help of Satan, of course.
Well, they're speaking to a public that doesn't have any concept of those techniques, so they can tell them anything they want. And
exactly.
And the sheep will believe them.
The sheep will believe it, and again, they're making an emotional decision. They don't want to bring their knowledge level up to the point where these two philosophies cannot coexist.
And they have to take responsibility for their life.
They'll have to take responsibility for their own lives. They might have to consider that death just might be the end, and oh my God.
Well, in closing, what do you call a 35-year-old man who never touched a woman?
I give up.
Jesus.
All right. Thank you very much. Well, he was 33 when he died, and I don't believe that. He probably he laid on of hands. Didn't he do a lot of laying on of hands? Medley, hello.
George.
Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
George, any chance that you could play some old Neil tapes? Because you're pondering.
Yeah, you're ponders. I thought we weren't going to talk to the little faggots anymore. These people who are in love with Neil, like this guy.
I don't know these guys.
They're under 25 and they have a Spanish accent. That's them. Okay? With all due respect, and I resisted. When Neil laid that edict down, I didn't obey. I was not compliant. I refused to believe that there were no young Julios under 25 that were not gay and in love with Neil, and I was wrong. I admit the error. I was wrong. Coral Gables, hello.
George.
Yes.
Hey, you would love the excuse given to me by my Baptist minister when I was younger that God killed the dinosaurs so that we could have gasoline.
Hey, well, thanks.
But
I'd white of them.
Yeah, so, and another thing, a few years ago I had my appendix taken out, and I actually got criticized for that because that God will rise her corporeal, the nurse talking to, said that God would rise her corporeally from the grave and would not allow her to decompose, basically.
Okay.
And third, too bad Neil's not here, there's been another isolated incident.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, the minister had sex with a 14-year-old girl as part of an exorcism.
At least it was a girl. Oh, well, that's a big part of the... I'll become an exorcist if I can do that.
And in closing, I'm sure you heard about what happened at the church the other day.
Which one?
I forgot the name of it, but one of the fathers decided he needed to go to the restroom and had an altar boy fill in for me. He told him all the penances and all the sins were on the side of the wall there.
No, where was this?
I forgot where, like I said. And the kid went in.
Yes?
And then the kid went in, and he says, they'll say, "Bless me, Father, for I have sinned," and you tell them the penance and the sin. First woman came in. She says, "I got a hum job from a neighbor and had anal sex with him." Kid looked up on the board.
This is a joke. I'm sorry. This, we're not going to do religious jokes or jokes of any kind, except for I made the exception for the one Virginia Key guy because he's a good guy. Hollywood, hello.
Yeah,
hello.
George?
Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
Just calling about the guy about the sun.
Yes.
As far as I remember from high school, the sun is expanding. It's not contracting.
Right, it is expanding. That's what I said to the guy.
Yeah, so that's...
It's on its way to becoming a red giant.
So if anything, it would have been smaller back then anyway.
Yes.
That's
Thank
all
you.
I had to add.
All right. Thank you very much. Like, I didn't go to college. I'm just a stupid old country boy. Lady in Miami, hello. Let me press the button. Lady in Miami, hello.
Yeah, this is Mary. Another thing that the Christians apparently don't believe is that, which Jesus said, is that it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into heaven.
we can discount that as saying that was probably a figure of speech. That wasn't a specific, claim.
People are not going to give up their riches.
Right. So thank goodness there are no rich Christians.
Right.
Right. Thank you very much. But yeah, and all I'm talking about the specific claims: moving mountains, walking on water, healing the sick. These are specific claims. Salvation, eternal life. Eternal life. Has anyone gotten a phone call from a deceased loved one? A lot of people will claim to have, but we've got our phone number 567-0560, pound 560 on the Mobile One line. If you have achieved eternal life by practicing any of the world's religions, please call us up and let me know so that we know which one to follow. Mobile in Belglade, hello.
Hi, George.
Hey.
I just found out listening to the show. I enjoy listening to you talk, and I think you make a lot of rational points.
Well, don't tell anybody.
But I was really calling for an old request.
Okay.
The Jack in the Box.
Jack in the Box. No way. Never happened. Not in my lifetime or in another one. We're not going to play this old crap that Neil wouldn't play if he was here, for one thing. We'll be playing the whatchamacallit, Tastes Like a Penny song. Boy, talk about no response to that at all. I thought it was going to be shocking and everyone was going to be totally disgusted.
My mother thought it was disgusting.
It was disgusting.
She hated it.
We'll be playing it a lot, over and over again. 11:13 on 560 WQAM.
Jim Mandich talks sports. Weekends right here on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
I know that the Lord even loves Neil Rogers.
So you're an atheist, completely rooted in science, with no beliefs outside of what you can see with your own two eyes. Well, then, chances are that the Old Testament didn't do it for you, and neither did the New one. So in the Lord's final attempt to bring your sorry ass around, check out the latest book from God, entitled Screw You Too, You Ungrateful Little Bastard. Start off in chapter 1 with, who do you think caused the flood that wiped out your house last week? Then move on to such later chapters as, step outside, I dare you. And drop to your knees and pray, or those hemorrhoids won't ever go away. It's Screw You Too, You Ungrateful Little Bastard, the latest release from God. It's better than the Book of Mormon, better than the Torah, and the Bible combined. Buy yours today.
I bet it's not better than Scientology creation story about the evil overlord Xenu. Are we going to teach that in school also? Because, hey, that's Christianity, at least according to them. Christian Scientist, the Scientology, evil overlord Xenu, and all the Galactic Federation. Oh, by the way, unsubbed, I'm sucking on their smoothie, the unsubbed smoothie, and the salad. I forgot what I get. What did I get? A anarchist, what was the salad called? The spike through the head.
Audio?
Audio. I got, how appropriate. I got the audio, and it's great. They customized it for me. Very fat, very big salad, all natural stuff, little sprouts on top, bacon, subs, pitas, unsubbed at 95 Northwest 1st Street in Miami. Went through a lot of crap. They had a fire or something.
They had a fire. They rebuilt it. It's a rock and roll type joint with TVs and music and all kinds of crap going on.
Well, thank you guys. Good lunch. We have extra stuff here, by the way. I'm trying to get out of belch. If any of the schnorrers in the building.
John Penis is having a smoothie right now.
And they're good. It's great. I don't know how much fat it's going to burn, but it does taste great. 11:18 on WQAM. Aventura, hello.
Good morning, George.
Good morning.
George, last week I heard Neil talking about this whole religion thing.
Yes, as a matter of fact, on Wednesday, as a matter of fact.
Right. And it got me thinking, later on in the day I was speaking with my sister who lives in New Orleans, which is the hotbed for, the Bible thumpers over there. And I was asking her, I said to her, I know you believe in God, I said, but how can you discount theories like the Big Bang Theory? How can you discount the Darwin theory? All these things.
The Darwin thing is not a theory any longer.
All right.
Evolution is a fact. I know I'm nitpicking, I'm mincing words, but
you're mincing, but fine. Okay. A lot of people feel like you feel that it's
evolution.
fact.
The fact of evolution, like the fact of relativity. Go ahead.
And her answer kind of shocked me because I never thought she thought this way. She says, it's funny. I believe both things.
And you know what? You can. You really can.
Yeah. I said, how do
you can't believe the Bible and evolution.
Right.
You can't reconcile those two things, but you can certainly believe in a supreme being, in a deity, and all of the evolutionary facts that we have today.
Well said, because that's what I said to her. Because I think any intelligent human being nowadays has to give credence to what science is saying. I mean, I think some people need faith, some people need to believe in a supreme
and God
being.
bless them, more power to you. Just don't make it law. Keep it out of Washington. Keep it out of the legislature.
Exactly.
That's all.
And she was raised, she stayed at home a lot longer than I did and was raised in a very religious environment.
Yeah.
Shocked me when she told me that, but, I respected her even more because she says, I know it's weird, I know you're going to think it doesn't make sense, but I believe in God. I also believe that these theories make sense, and I just thought I'd share that with you. I think that's a rational way of looking at things.
Yes, it is. Thank you very much.
Take care.
And by the way, just for what it's worth, I'm not the enemy of God. Like I said, God's my buddy. I'm not running around lying about God. I don't know. I plainly say I don't know, and neither do you. And neither does the man on the pulpit know what he's talking about. I'm just being honest with you when I say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on up there. I don't know what caused the Big Bang. We only know that it happened. And we know that because the astronomers watch the stars and see that they are moving, and they draw little backwards lines from where they came from, and they all come from a central point. And the velocity, the rate of speed at which they are traveling, implies that they are traveling at a very high rate of speed. So they must have started going, when they started moving, since there's nothing driving them through space, we're not being propelled through space by a force, we're coasting through space, being propelled by whatever force got us moving in the first place, which was an enormous explosion. And maybe God caused it. Maybe God said, I want there to be a universe, ba-boom, bada-bing. And that's what happened. But none of the earthly religions allow that. They go, it's all molded and sculpted and everything like that. Well, back it up, asshole. Prove it. No one's called to challenge me to the water walking contest. I'll bring a canoe. You bring the Word of God. And let's see who can cross the body of water the fastest. And we got a little canal right by my house, the Rio Azul Canal. Let's see who can get across it the fastest. I'll bring a kayak. You bring the power of God. Miami, hello. Miami.
Hey.
Hey.
You were getting ready to play that Crease song yesterday, and I had to get out of my vehicle. And
I'll play it again right after the 12 o'clock hour. How's that? You going to be listening at noon?
Yeah, that's cool like that.
Okay.
Thanks.
You got it. It's a great tune. Even if it is gross, it's a great tune. Mobile in Miami Beach, hello.
Hey, George.
Hey, yes, sir.
I've been in and out of the car. I don't know if you brought up this one, but have you heard the pseudoscience argument against carbon dating?
Oh, yeah. I've heard various arguments against carbon dating.
It's always that they carbon dated a stop sign, and it was...
right, and again, and I'll tell you what my junior high science teacher, Charlie Simpson, told us. When you go into a laboratory set on proving something, set on getting certain results, you're going to get those results. When you as opposed to going in with an open mind. When you go in convinced of an outcome, you will generate that outcome.
There's an even better argument than that, George.
Oh, well, by all means, sure.
Carbon dating only works on organic materials. Whenever they bring something up, it's a stop sign, it's a fence post.
We dated a living mollusk, and it showed us that it was 1 million years old, and it was alive.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, sir.
Keep up the good work, George.
You got it, brother.
You're on the same track, but you're completely different from Neil. It's hearing the same thing in a different way.
Thank you very much. Highest compliment anyone could pay me. 1123 on WQAM, mobile in Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
I'm having a hard time figuring out just where you're coming from on this.
I'm an agnostic. How's that? I don't know what's going on, neither does anyone else. So I do my best.
All right, but I find it hard. One of your people called in and you responded in a way that talked about you can have both. You can have belief in a deity.
You can't have the Bible and evolution, but you can have a deity and evolution, because how do you know that this isn't how the deity brought everything about? Slowly, over millions of years.
This is presupposing there is something besides physics as that which governs nature.
Right, but I'm just saying, we don't know what's out there. To argue about things that we can't prove one way or another is a total waste of time.
Well,
let's talk about the things that are in evidence, and let's base our decisions in our lives on things that we can see and understand, as opposed to basing our lives on a bunch of stories. That's my point.
Okay, that's fine. Allegory, I think, is nonsense, but what evidence is there that leads a scientific observation towards some deity that governs the universe?
Oh, no, none. Zippity. There is none.
I see none.
I'm just not discounting it. In other words, you can't prove a negative. Do you know what I'm saying? You can't prove the absence of something that is intangible in the first place. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, I hang out with more atheists than I do any other kind of person, but see, the only difference is the atheist is convinced of something. I'm only convinced of things that are proven to be. Do you know what I'm saying?
A lot of atheists are the same mind. They're only convinced of things that they can prove.
I understand that, but they're also convinced of the non-existence of something. It's very difficult for me to conceive of.
I would differ with you. I'm an atheist. I have been for many years. But
yes.
I am not convinced of the non-existence. I'm convinced that there is no sign of it Therefore, why should I believe in that any more than I should believe in magic
I agree
pumpkin?
with you wholeheartedly right there. There is no sign of it. There is no evidence to point to a higher power.
It's just like saying I can't prove that there is no magic pumpkin or Easter bunny.
Right.
But
there's no evidence to say that there is.
You're creating the possibility of an existence of something that is strictly a fictitious generation of man's superstitions.
I'm only allowing for the possibility for there to be things, plural things, out there that we have no concept of.
Absolutely.
But as far as big guy with a white beard doing everything by design, no.
Well, I would assume you therefore discount things like heaven and hell and so on.
There is no evidence to indicate that such places exist.
Well, now there are certain creationists and Christians that would have you believe they've had near-death experiences.
Near death. We have another word in our language for near death. It's called unconsciousness. And the brain does things when it is unconscious that we call it dreaming. We call it dreaming.
There are studies that show that when the oxygen starts to leave the brain, it goes into what's called a whiteout.
Yes.
And it actually generates an image like that.
Yes.
And that's what these people get when these people that are having great sex and they try and strangle each other.
Absolutely.
They deprive the brain of oxygen and they get this whiteout and this intense blast when they get the blood back.
Sniffing glue and other inhalants produces the same effect.
Yeah, so I mean, it's all mind-altering. But
there you go. Thank you, sir. It's time for a break.
Bye.
And call again sometime. Love our atheist friends. 1127, 560, WQA.
Only one South Florida radio station has the hammer, and you're listening to it. Goldberg, weekday afternoons at 2, Sports Radio 560, QAM.
Grab my junior, honey.
Wanna do her, that hot babe Liv Tyler, not Alicia, it's Liv I prefer. You make me sweat, even though we never met. I don't think that it's bad, you got lips like your dad. Oh, and I wanted to live, and I wanted to live. And I wanted to live, and I wanted to live. My heart to run, baby, you are the one. Watch Armageddon, baby, till I'm spent and done. No way that you know, honey, that I exist. But would you get really pissed if you're on my stalking list? Oh! And I wanted to live, and I wanted to live, and I wanted to live, and I got it to live.
Oh, 27 till 12, 560 WQA. I'm still waiting for a clergyman to call up and tell me why he doesn't live his life according to Matthew chapter 6, verses 24 through 34, why he passes a plate. 567-0560 and pound 560 on the AT&T wireless line. If the calls drop off, today our musical guests will be the Murmurs, so I'll finally get to them. And also we have mono by request. The lady yesterday wanted some mono. I have that all queued up and ready to go if the clergy doesn't call to explain their actions. Mobile in Jupiter, hello.
Hey, George, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing? Oh, by the way, just pause one moment, sir. All the people calling Joe off the air asking, where's Neil? Neil is in Amsterdam. Neil is in Europe on vacation. He'll be back on Monday, so you don't have to fret. I'm just keeping the seat warm by farting in it a lot. Go ahead, sir.
I got something that I stump all my religious friends with, and that is that Adam and Eve are the father and mother of all, correct? Right?
Yeah, supposedly,
that would be agreed with. So then now that kind of answers why we're so screwed up, because the very thing was founded on incest.
Rampant inbreeding.
That's got to be it. That's why we're so screwed up. And they say, well, that was an exception. God allowed that to happen then.
Right.
And I
Even
say, well,
though
what do you mean He allowed it to happen? Right. But it doesn't say that. So
right.
that, again, it's their own interpretations for when it works best.
Of course. And remember, God is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So if the policy was good back then it must be okay right now. I'm going to call my sister. All right. Take it easy, man.
Take care.
Take it easy. Not anymore. Lady in Miami, hello.
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 Yes, I wanted you to know I'm not one of the listeners that says, oh, I hate your show, but I'm sitting here listening to it.
Oh, okay, great.
Okay, I stumbled across it trying to get somewhere else, and I started listening, and I thought, well, I'm going to hang on here and get to his point.
Okay.
And I'm trying, I realize that you are saying you do have some beliefs, but...
No. I do not have beliefs. I have a lack of beliefs. I just don't have disbelief. Does that make any sense to you?
I guess what I'm saying is your major problem with the clergy and with the Christian faith and different faiths is they're asking for money and they're trying to deceive.
That is my major problem, is that they ask for money, and which doesn't affect me at all because they're not getting my money, but when they make it a part of legislature and a part of law, then I have a serious problem because after all, we all do have to abide by the law and pay our taxes, etc., and so on.
Okay, but what is your faith? What is it that you believe in? What do you have faith in?
I'm an agnostic, so I don't know what's going on beyond my senses. So I only deal with the things that happen in reality.
Are you married?
Yes, I am.
And do you believe that your wife is out there all day being true to you and faithful to you?
No, I do not. I think she's a cheating whore. That's what I think.
But what I'm saying is, how can you have that relationship with her or with anyone else without some type of faith and some type of belief?
Well, see, but you're asking me to believe something just because it would make me uncomfortable if it were a different way. See, wanting something to exist really, really hard, really, really badly doesn't make it exist, doesn't make it any more or less likely just because you want it to be a certain way.
Granted.
You understand?
Oh,
I have faith in my wife, that I have faith that she will not let bad people come into the house and steal our stuff. You know, I have faith in her as a person because I know her and I've gotten to know her. I don't need a imaginary mystical being watching over her to assure me that she's doing the right thing. I have to assume that she's doing the right thing. See, because just to get along a similar point, people have told me, well, George, if what you say is true, then that means that we're a cosmic accident and that, you know, that life has no meaning and that there's nothing beyond this. And I know that that's an unsettling thought for a lot of people, but just because that concept makes you uncomfortable doesn't make it any more or less true.
But don't you see that you are believing in the things that make you comfortable? In other words, you wouldn't drive down I-95 or any other street because you wouldn't believe that that person's not going to come across and kill you. But you have to believe that so you can get down the street.
But you're talking about faith in reality and faith in some fantasy story. What does that have to do? Reality is reality. We do our best with our five senses and our brains that God gave us to deal with reality. I hope and I pray that the person isn't going to cross that yellow line and crush me. But sometimes, you know what? They do. They do. Not me, but I've seen, you know, other people.
So
but these are stories. I'm talking about stories. I'm talking about Bible stories.
Trying to prove everything.
No. I don't go through my life trying to prove anything. I go through my life observing and reacting appropriately. I'm just not putting any stock in some stories that were written thousands of years ago by people that I never met just because somebody said that I should. That's all that they've got is their say-so. When the clergy tells you to believe something, all that they have to back it up is trust me. Trust me when I tell you, because I said so. That's all they've got to back it up.
Well, I just hope that people out there are listening to you with the same amount of skepticism that you are listening to people who have a lot more to go on.
You have a lot. You don't have anything to go on. Don't you understand? You have an illusion. You have phantomness. You have nothing. You have vapor. There's nothing that you could bring to the evidence table.
That is so sad.
That's not sad. You're sad. You have nothing that you could bring to the evidence table. Can you move a mountain, ma'am? Can you move a mountain with your faith?
Do you really take all that stuff so literally?
Oh, but no, I don't. You do. You're supposed to. It came out of Jesus' mouth, ma'am.
And do such, you know.
Ma'am, it came out of Jesus' mouth. Was he kidding?
What about examples? What about, you know, I mean.
What about examples? What about the book of Joshua? What about killing babies?
I don't think that there's anyone that takes and says, you know, every single thing in here. God did what he could to get his cause to us. No.
God didn't do any such thing. Some people said that God said. No one did any. God didn't say any such thing. See, don't lay the Bible at the feet of God. God didn't write it. God didn't write the Bible.
Everything that is happening in the Miami Herald, in the magazines, everything is just people saying stuff. So we have no reason to believe in anything.
But you can substantiate that stuff.
You have to.
If a scientist tells me that that mixing baking soda and vinegar makes a big foamy cloud, big foamy froth, we can test that.
Amazing. You know,
You're amazing.
You can't go any further. Your mind can't take it any
No,
further.
your mind can't go any
see.
further than God said so. Why do you believe people just because they said so?
God is the basis of our life, and then we go by science and what.
God didn't tell you anything, ma'am. You read some words out of a book. Some man on a stage told you some words, and you took his word for it.
And you're telling me he's a liar, and I'm
He is
telling
a liar.
you he's the truth.
You can't substantiate. You can't substantiate one thing that he said. The burden of proof is on you, is on the clergyman. How can you substantiate any one claim out of that book?
Okay.
Pick one.
I'm saying to you that the people
Can you
who
walk
read-
on water, ma'am? Didn't that happen? Did it or did it not happen, ma'am?
You take
Did
callers,
Jesus walk on water?
You take callers, but you're not a listener.
Ma'am, did Jesus walk on water? The Bible said he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yes, he did. And did Paul not walk on the water also?
You're saying it's a lie, and I'm saying it's the truth.
Ma'am,
and
did it
who can
happen?
disprove
Did it happen? Well, you have to prove the truth. You're the one that's making the claim. You said Jesus walked on water. Do you know anyone that can walk on water?
No.
No, of course not. Thank you very much. I'm still waiting for someone who can walk on water to call up so that we can get into the water walking contest. 20 till 12 on WQAM.
Ed Kaplan knows the scores. Starting at 10 till the last game ends. Weeknights only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Asexual, far from intellectual, fashion stealer, freewheeler, basher, eyes to cover up her lies. She's a sucker-upper, star-fucker, sucker-upper, star-fucker. And I'm gonna blow her cover. Saw you in a coffee shop, saw you cute, she thought you were hot, but I thought not. She's fat, she's pretty, good enough to do. We got bars, nobody runs over you. She's an asexual, far from intellectual, fashion stealer, freewheeler, basher, eyes to cover up her lies. She's a sucker-upper, star-fucker, sucker-upper, star-fucker. I heard that. I'm gonna blow her cover. Cover up her lies, she's a sucker-upper, star-fucker, sucker-upper, star-fucker. And I'm gonna blow her cover. Big chocolate, wrap it around your arms so you won't forget when you're gone. So long!
Thirteen till 12, 560 WQAM. I wanted to play that because I didn't have anything else queued up, and I didn't think I was going to get to it anyway because we have lots of calls today. But anyway, that's the Murmurs, and that's on the Tracy sent me 2 Murmurs CDs, and that's on both of them. It's on each of them, both Pristine Smut and Blunder. And I don't know which one was the first or whatever, but Blunder is the better of the 2 CDs for what it's worth because it also has La-Di-Da on it, which I might play, and I won't have to bleep that one. But I like that. It's kind of like Angry Go-Go's, and they're cute, too, for what it's worth. 12 till 12 on 560 QAM, and I loved that last call, that lady who called me sad. I have more clarity and more contentment, more peace of mind in my life now than I ever did as a Christian, wallowing around in my world of fantasy, in my illusory world that didn't exactly work the way that the real world worked. And again, I'm still waiting for a member of the clergy to call and accept my challenge in the crossing a body of water contest, whether by walking or causing the water to part, or the mountain moving contest. And her point is, oh, you take it all literally. Oh, so we don't have to take it all literally? At which point do we stop taking it literally? Do I have to not take it literally when he says, no one cometh unto the Father but by me, so I don't have to believe that? Or I don't have to believe John 3:16, or I don't have to believe the Ten Commandments because it's optional? It's all optional, like sacrificing 2 turtle doves every month when you menstruate, if you're a woman. But Paul said we don't have to do that anymore. But Jesus said we did. So, I don't know. Miami, hello. Hello, Miami.
Hey, is that me?
That's you.
Well, hey, that was a cool song.
Yeah. Oh, you like that?
Yeah, I
was
that.
Afraid. I was highly dubious about playing the murmurs on the air. I didn't know how that would be received.
Dubious. Tell me, man,
so obviously the CD version is not bleeped. I had to bleep that because the Christians run the country and they're afraid of the F word.
Well, religion's harder to kick than drugs.
Oh, no question about that. I'm living proof.
But listen, there is scientific evidence that points that there is a God.
Is this a joke?
No, it really isn't.
Okay.
No, like if the mass of a proton was like a billionth of difference of what it actually is.
The Bible doesn't say anything about
I know.
protons.
I'm hell with the Bible.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that the atomic mass of a proton is a tiny bit different. Organic chemistry as we know it couldn't exist. Just a tiny bit different. If the force of gravity was just a little bit greater, the entire universe would be like a black hole.
Right,
so
but guess what? It isn't. This is the way that it is. It's like, why does the river follow the valley?
But what I'm saying is it's a coincidence that everything is just perfect.
Well, because this is the way that it is. If it was somehow different, if it was different than what it is, then that would be normal.
Yep.
And then we would be having the same discussion. Would be saying, oh, isn't it just coincidence that we have green skin and we get our nutrition from the sun and we don't have to eat solid food the way that the animals do? We could be having that conversation, but we don't have green skin. This is the way that it is.
But since the mass of a proton is what it is, we're here talking about it.
That's right, but that doesn't prove God, and that doesn't prove the Bible.
It sure doesn't, but there's all these little coincidences that kind of add up.
Lots of coincidences. Yeah. That's right. Thank you very much. And we use science to try to explain things, and some people read stories and base their lives on storybooks. Boynton Beach, hello.
George.
Yes.
How's it going, man?
Great.
I just want to tell you, I've been listening to this whole. It's like weird, wild stuff. I mean, your views, your philosophy, it's like you're talking from me.
Okay.
It's just been really a good job.
Well, thank you.
All week.
Please, I hope you have something to add.
Just that last lady you called before. I mean, it seems like she was kind of judging you.
That's fine. That's what they do. Even though the book that they believe in tells them not to, they do that.
I mean, I was raised with the Baptist, but I still have gone to say, you know what, you're right. You don't know.
You don't know. If you don't know, you don't know.
You can never know.
Right. Well, we might not never know, but you know what? Everything that we do know came from science. Everything that we can verify and substantiate and bank on time after time came from science. If you mix baking soda and vinegar, you will get a big foamy mess every single freaking time. That's how science works. That's how the world works. Not, some glittering, glowing words in a book that no one has ever seen take place. No one.
No, I would like to, a couple of callers ago, I think you can go both ways. There's a higher entity.
No, you can go both ways. I don't.
No, well, I mean, maybe not God or something else out there. But the big
we don't have no idea what's out there until we go out there.
Yeah.
And you know what? We did go out there because, until we cleared the sky, everybody thought that's where heaven was on the other side of the big blue. Well, guess what? We went beyond the big blue, and there was big black.
Yeah.
Well, so we did get to heaven. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
You bet. That's another thing, because that was the whole basis of it was because we couldn't dig down deep into the world, and they thought the world was flat. The underworld, therefore, was under the world. It wasn't the inside of the world. They thought it was flat. They thought there was a big plane of matter. The underworld was under that, under the world, and then heaven was above the world beyond the blue sky or the black night sky. And what do you know? We cleared the atmosphere, and heaven wasn't there. Something equally as fascinating, if not more so, was there, the whole freaking universe. I can't wait till we get out there and explore that. And we better, because the sun, we only got like 1 billion years or so. It's going to eat us all up. Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Hello?
Yes?
Yes, I have two semi-scientific points which prove to me that there's something else out there. Call it God, call it what you will.
Okay.
They're very quick. First one I believe in is that what a scientist told me, represented to me, is, say, represent life and the people here as the flat family. If you were the flat family and you were existing on a flat surface, all you could see is what was straight ahead and to your sides.
Right.
You couldn't see what was above you. So if there was an entity or a being above you, you wouldn't be able to see him because he was above you, and you couldn't see that dimension or that
we cannot see what is beyond the dimensions that our senses can look into.
So
granted, I don't know what's on
so
the
there may
other
be something
dimensions.
there. That's
there
the first
may
thing.
be, and I'm not saying there isn't.
Exactly. I know what you're saying, and I don't say it's God. I don't say what.
When you discover a way of peering into that dimension, let me know.
Can
I'll
I mention one more point? Just one more point. If we believe in the Big Bang and we believe in the motion that started everything, that sent it out sprawling towards us, and now we're all in movement.
Right.
This movement, scientists will show you that movement, energy, does not come from nothing. Movement must be caused by another movement.
Movement is caused by inertia. The universe is flying in all different directions.
Einstein proved that.
Inertia.
Many scientists have proven that. So if we agree that movement has to continue and not begin from nothing,
No. It began with something. It began with a huge explosion, and it has been moving as a result of that explosion ever since.
Okay, there's where we have a scientific difficulty because movement cannot start from nothing.
But it started from an explosion. If you shoot a bullet, the bullet is being propelled by an explosion of the gunpowder, of the gas. Okay, we have the initial explosion. We don't know what caused it. We don't know where it came from, but we do know that all matter started at a central point and is moving away from it at a very high rate of speed.
But
so
the chemicals
started moving at a very high rate of speed, and we don't know what caused it.
The chemicals that are behind the bullet have motion in them, have ionized motion in them, and they propel that forward.
Science, sir, and we can go back and forth all day long. You're misunderstanding science. Go out and blow something up. Go get a firecracker, blow it up, and see that the particles are flying around in all different directions. We don't know what there was before the Big Bang, and a lot of people have a problem with that label, so call it something else. Call it the Great Conflagration. Call it the Big Explosion. Call it something. But whatever it was, it happened. It happened because we're here. And all of the matter in the universe is moving, in the known universe, that is, because we don't know if there are other Big Bangs going on in other parts of the universe that are beyond our sphere of matter, which they have mapped and charted. From the center of the known universe to the quasars, the farthest things from it, which are the fastest things moving that we can detect, it's all observed. It's all observable with telescopes and X-ray detectors and radio wave detectors, etc., and so on. Satellites and earthly-based detection systems. But anyway, I'm not going to get into this pissing contest. It's real simple. The Bible makes specific claims. All of the world's religions make specific claims. The Buddha supposedly could make water flow from one hand and fire flow from the other hand simultaneously. Well, where's the Buddhist monk to demonstrate that? It's real easy to make all kinds of claims. When science makes a claim, they are expected to back it up. And they do so with great zeal and willingness. They'll be happy to show you how it is that they came to their conclusion and why it works the way that it does. And we're just holding religion up to the same standard. Because before I give you my money and before I base my life out of the words that are coming out of your mouth, I need a little bit more than just, I said so. Some of you are content to believe the very first story that you heard in your life. And some of us, we want to hear more. And I think that we can agree to disagree. Live your life however you want. Just keep it out of the law and keep it out of the school. And don't make my tax dollars pay to support your institutions of lies and deceit. 4 till 12 on 560 WQAM.
Only one South Florida radio station has the hammer, and you're listening to it. At Goldberg, weekday afternoons at 2. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Sports Radio 560 WQAM. Fort Lauderdale. Well, I worked in the rear, and I've got no fear. Won't me go where no man's gone before me. Wanna bite your lip and remove that flip. An acquired taste that leaves you empty. The easily disgusted think that it's heinous. But like a spaceman, I'm circling your anus.
Rectum.
It tastes like a panic to me. the sweetest painter I've seen. Your moon is shining on me. Tastes like a penny to me. Well, shaved and depraved, the tongue lashing I just gave makes the hair on my dad stand straight up. Now I'm a real trooper, got my tongue up in your pooper. Squeeze out enough juice till it's Dixie cup. I got a mustache made of feces, my friends call me number 2. I heard you yelling caca, but I prefer doo-doo. It tastes like a penny to me. The sweetest painter I've seen. Your moon is shining on me. It tastes like a penny to me. Now put away that KY, 'cause darling, I'm going in dry. Trust me, I won't hurt you. Things get nice and loose when I derail your taboo. And I wash it all down with a nice cold brew. Doing what I do leaves me feeling like a man. You'll find it hard to sit down when I get done with your can. It tastes like a penny to me. Sweetest painter I've seen. Your moon is shining on me.
Increíble.
Tastes like a penny. Tastes like a penny. Tastes like a penny to me.
1204, 560 WQAM. Thanks once again to Unsubbed. I just finished my salad. It was big. It was too big for me to choke all down. But it was really good. The ham and the meats and the bacon and everything was really good. The veggies were nice and fresh. The dressing was good. And the smoothie, the Unsubbed smoothie, was also top-notch. So thanks again, guys. 95 Northwest 1st Street in Miami, the Unsubbed place. And to the guy that called Joe off the air, please don't call Joe when I hang up on you. The people that don't understand how radio shows work, we have this thing called flow, as in we like to keep things moving, and we have these things called commercial breaks that we have to get to. And when you get a radio show, sir, you can talk as long as you want about things that you don't understand all day long. Davey, hello.
Hey, George.
Hey.
When you were a Christian, were you like one of those fundamentalist guys or something?
Absolutely. I was as fundamental and as right-wing and Bible-thumping. Went to a Pentecostal speaking in tongues church, the whole 9 yards.
Buddy, that's why you're so bent out of shape about
church
Christianity.
3 times a week and Bible study.
God. It reminds me, my ex-wife went to one of those churches when she was young, and she's very anti-religious.
It's just like the recovered drug addicts are the most anti-drug, and the reformed alcoholics are the most anti-alcohol. Same principle applies.
But you've got to know that is really a relatively small percentage of the Christian church.
Oh, I know. I'm just talking, but you can't deny.
You've kind of been trashing all Christians. The
only thing that I'm trashing is the people that try to get it into the legislature, the people that want to legislate their religious beliefs and enforce them on the rest of us through the law. Those are the people that I have a problem with. Not to mention the lunatics that are bombing abortion clinics, et cetera, and so on.
My priest doesn't sound nearly as sort of smug as you've been coming off today when you've been trashing.
Well, your priest is a liar and a thief, though.
No, he's not. He's a nice guy.
Does he? Well, he might be a nice guy, but does he take money from the people?
Not very much. He takes a lot less
Whatever.
than anybody else I know.
He passes a plate. He passes a plate, does he not? What does he get in the money for?
Just barely enough to get by.
Whatever.
That's the truth.
Oh well,
you can say whatever, but
the Buddhist monks, all they do is
people
ask for a bowl of food, sir. All the Buddhist monks ask for is a bowl of rice before noon, once a day.
That's pretty much what a priest gets by on. A priest gets by on
the Catholic Church is the richest religious organization in the world.
Talking about the priest.
That's all part. He's a tributary to the giant raging river that the Catholic Church is.
You just got to saying that the priest was
they all are.
liar
The entire institution and every member.
I'm telling you that a priest lives a life of basically of poverty.
He's part of the scam. All of them are part of the scam. He's getting what pays for his food that he eats.
I mean,
does God provide, or does
some
the
of the money
people
that
provide?
I give him does.
Some of the money that you give him does. And what does he do for that money? Does he not represent God?
No,
for
he
you?
No, he doesn't.
What do they?
He tries
if
to
you
bring
got a
people
receipt,
together,
sir,
he basically tries to bring. If you're going to ask a question, you can let me answer it.
I'm shutting up.
All right. He doesn't claim to represent God either. No priest I've ever known has.
That's not
what he
true.
What he does try to do is bring people together as a community so that people can see God in each other. And it's a pretty cool thing.
What a hokey explanation that was.
You can call it hokey, but
you're telling me that he doesn't claim to be the
listen,
agent
if you want
of
me
God.
to boil something down to a soundbite, that's what I have to do. Otherwise it'll take a lot longer to explain. And we can sit here and have an epistemological discussion about what we really understand about the way the universe works and what we don't really understand and what observations really tell us. But this isn't the forum to get to.
Does he claim to be doing the work of God?
In as much as everybody else is, as much as everybody else in the
then
church,
he's a liar. He's a liar. Then he's a liar. He's not doing the work of God. Okay? He's not making the rivers flow. He's not making it rain. He's not planting trees. He's not cleaning up the environment. If he was doing any of those things,
all of these things,
then maybe he could claim to be doing the work of God. Because that is certainly what God's work is creating life, sustaining life, making the world nice. But he's spouting. He's standing in front of a book, in front of a bunch of people, and telling them that the words in that book are true. And that makes him a liar. And he's collecting money and keeping some of it and giving the rest to the evil organization of the Catholic Church under false pretenses. That money isn't going to do the work of God, which is what they claim that it's going for. It's going to do the work of man, some greedy, deceptive men. Miami, hello.
How's it going, George?
All right.
Hey, first-time caller. Just to talk about substantial evidence. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
If I'm actually on your side, don't get me wrong.
I'm not jumping anything.
For example, 8,000 years ago, we have awesome evidence on the Egyptians.
We have
right?
we have evidence of the Egyptians. We can go there and
Correct,
see big
exactly.
pyramids.
Where is that's my point. Where's any evidence of the greatest man that ever walked the earth? There isn't any.
No, there's a lot of historical evidence. Well, I don't know about physical evidence, but Jesus comes up in a lot of historical writings.
Yeah, but something you can touch, something you can go, hey, look.
Nevertheless, what's in question, whether or not he existed is not so much in question as was he the Son of God and is he the road to heaven? That's the big question. Just because his followers said so, bear in mind, he didn't write anything himself.
Right.
His followers did, his groupies. Just because they said that he's the way, to heaven, doesn't make it so. I didn't know these guys. I know that they had an ulterior motive. I know that they had an agenda, but I didn't know them personally to believe them or not to believe them.
Exactly. But remember, keep in mind, he is part of the Holy Trinity. God.
The word Trinity does not appear in the Bible, sir.
I know. I'm just going by what I used to learn in Catholic school, which I also am now not. It's like it's too difficult. After you've seen so many things you've seen, like considering last week with these kids. I mean, Neil said it. Where was God?
Where was God? Well, we got a fact on it. God was saving all of the rest of the kids.
Yeah.
That's what God did. Okay?
That's it.
Thank
you
very much, sir. You bet. Take it easy. 11 after 12, 560 WQAM.
QAM drops the green flag with Motorsports Saturday mornings at 6 with Joe Costello, right here on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Boy, does he have a lot of chutzpah.
My friends, I believe it's time this country had some moral Christian leadership. And for that, I need your checks and money orders. Friends, I can assure you I know what's best for you.
Good little Christians trying to run our lives with red balls in their mouth on Friday night. Good little Christians spewing their hate around and power grabbing for a new third right. Good little Christians brainwashing all their kids, grow up believing fairy tales are true. Why do you have to pay to believe the way they always told you to? If business needs checks from you, but they're marketing too. Good little Christians, forgiven instantly. That's why they never have to tell the truth. Good little Christians, married to Sanford wives. They like to swap and swing in cheap hotels. Good little Christians, protecting us from ourselves, from rings of fire in the depths of hell.
Follow the ways, for all know the way. His hand and let me guide you down the primrose path of victory.
1217 560 WQAN, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it every chance I get. The road to heaven is not a toll road. It isn't the freaking turnpike. It's free. It's as free as I-95. So for someone to be standing there with a toll booth on the side of the road, expecting you to stop and put money into the basket on your way to heaven, is ludicrous. Jesus said, render unto Caesar what is Caesar and God what is God's. And I've heard many sermons on that issue, the meaning of which is very clear. God doesn't care about your money. Humans care about your money. And the agents of God, supposedly, they should be accommodated by God. Because Jesus said that everyone, not just the clergy, not just the agents of Christ on earth, but everyone will be accommodated by God in Matthew 6:24 through 34. So how dare these guys get up there and pass a basket and expect you, the people, to support them? Obviously, they don't believe their own swill. If they did, they wouldn't need to pass a basket. God would take care of them as surely as he does the lilies of the field and the birds of the air. They toil not, neither do they sow, and neither do they pass a basket. Miami, hello.
We now know that quasars are a phenomena at the center of massive galaxies created by supermassive black holes.
No, quasars are not. Quasars are on the edges.
But they're centers of galaxies.
They make quasar-like things.
X-ray technology has now revealed that they're actually supermass phenomena created by supermassive black holes.
Okay, supermass phenomena? Yeah, that stands
at the edge of the universe.
At the edge of the universe? Well, there could be. Who know? I haven't been there.
I know.
But nevertheless,
it's one of these. We know.
Quote unquote. No question. The quasars are like incredibly huge, incredibly fast-moving, supermassive objects.
It's powered by black holes over 1 billion times the mass of our own sun.
Okay.
Imagine that.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Later.
Thank you very much. But of course, we have to have faith in the scientists, and we all know that the scientists have been wrong about everything, right? That's why you can't hear my voice right now over the radio. That's why your car doesn't work. That's why airplanes don't fly. No one's responded to my flying contest. The science gets thousands of tons of matter up into the air, airborne, out beyond the atmosphere. Does it all the time. Science can make thousands of tons of steel float on the water. Go down to the port of Miami or go down to Port Everglades and observe the awesome power of science as thousands of tons of steel rest on top of the water. But I can't get one person to tell me that they can walk across a body of water or part a body of water. Weston, hello.
How you doing, George?
All right.
Excuse my voice there.
That's
the
right.
guy was talking about the edge of the universe. I think at the end of the universe is Hialeah, actually.
Okay.
But anyways, on a lighter note, regarding the religion is a way to dominate the masses.
Right.
It always has been.
It always has been.
Okay. But I think it does a good thing also.
I don't.
Okay. Well,
go ahead. Explain to me why you think it does a good thing.
Well, in Christianity, for example, not only Christianity, but Muslims, there's good deeds. Okay, and you try to do good.
But you're not saved by works. Good deeds have nothing to do with getting into heaven, according to Christianity and the Bible.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is that it promotes...
You can be a bastard your whole life and repent on your deathbed right before the last...
Boy!
And you'll go to heaven.
I agree with that. It can be a little hypocritical.
A little.
Yeah, but the premise of doing good and forgiving, okay, is something that I don't see why it should be shut down.
I'm not shooting down premises and philosophies. I'm shooting down specific claims made in a specific book by specific people. Specific claims, as in live your life this way, do what I say, and you'll go to the happy place after death. etc., and so on. Not only do they make those kinds of claims, but they make all kinds of other claims, like how we got here, where we came from, you know, all that stuff. And, and again, you know, substantiate any of it, any.
Did you ever see the movie Trading Places?
Yes.
Okay, you remember what the guy pretending to be the priest says? He goes, religion, take it in moderation is good. Well, the same thing. I mean, you can't become a fanatic.
Okay, go answer that phone. I'm not, you know, whatever this guy says. You can't become a fanatic. Obviously, people are picking and choosing, and they're Christians or whatever the hell they are at whatever level they want to be, whatever level is convenient for them. Unfortunately, the Bible doesn't support wishy-washy people like that. God said, "Come to me hot, or you know, or come to me cold, not lukewarm." You can't just pick and choose. The very last verse of the Bible, the very last verse of the book of Revelation says, you can't take away anything. You can't add or subtract anything from this document, from this book. Jesus said, whosoever removeth one jot or one tittle from the old law shall be in danger. So you can't just pick and choose, even though most of them do. Miami, hello.
George.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on? I have a feeling I'm going to be running into sort of a dilemma sometime soon. I have a girlfriend who has a daughter.
Yes.
And the father and the father's parents are Catholic and blah, 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 and they want to send her to private school.
Oh, yeah.
Now I'm wondering how I'm going to deal with this when since I've as I've grown up, I really had my faith in God. I hadn't really went to church. My family never sent me there. My father died like around the time I was born. So, I never thought God would be all that good if he let my dad die around the time I was born. So
sorry about that.
It's okay. I think it's gonna be a big problem for me to try to explain to her, when she's bombarded all day, this and that, how I'm gonna explain to her, why I feel the way I feel and why the way they're teaching her is or is not correct.
Well, first of all, you got to give kids a little bit more credit than most people do. That they're smarter than you think they are. They can sift through the bull crap fairly easily and at a fairly early age. And you just speak frankly and openly and honestly about what you believe and tell her that you understand that in school they're telling her this and that and the other thing, but you don't feel that way, and explain why you don't feel that way. And let her make up her own mind, because you know what? No amount of coercion, either from you or from the Catholics, is going to sway her one way or another. She's going to make up her own mind.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. So, just and don't ram it down her throat, and
no, of course not.
You don't get hysterical.
I won't bring him any contrary opinion. Once she came and said, okay, I believe this and believe that. Why don't you believe that or whatever? Do you believe this? And that's just explain to her what I
think. This is the way I believe, and tell her you understand that they're going to be telling her something different in school, but they have an agenda, and explain the agenda to her. But and certainly don't react with fear or paranoia at the religious doctrine, because most of it evaporates in the light of logic as soon as the kids get to be like teenagers or something like that. So don't sweat it.
All right, George.
All right, take it easy.
Thanks.
A lot of kids, and as soon as they grow up, they will be making up their own minds, and in spite of what mommy and daddy and the priest tells them. So, and I don't hide any religious doctrine from the daughter. As a matter of fact, she has to tell me to shut up when I'm explaining the Bible to her and talking about the Bible and sharing Bible stories with her. I want to get her the comic book version of the Bible that I had when I was younger, that my sister sent me, in order to try to sway me so that they get all the. Of course, they're only the nice Bible stories or the cleaned up version of the Bible. No baby killing or anything like that. God forbid. Mobile and Pompano, hello.
How you doing?
All right.
Listen, two stories concerning organized religion. One is when I was first of all, I'm Jewish. My wife is Catholic, but when I get the book, is right. But I'm telling you, the sex is great.
I'll bet.
Anyway, I take a Catholic girl, introduce her to sex, and never know what's going to happen. Anyway, when I was younger, and my parents, they're not religious Jews, but they're traditional Jews, and they wanted to go to the synagogue, where they attend us. My older brother and I for bar mitzvah lessons and Hebrew school and all that, but they couldn't go. And why couldn't they go? Because they couldn't afford the tickets.
Of course not.
And I couldn't, I heard them discussing this over dinner, and it freaked me out. How come, Rabbi so-and-so or, the principal of the school isn't letting them go because they can't afford the tickets? Well, I want to tell you, ever since that day, they could all go to, where, okay?
Hell? Are you talking about
there too. And there too. Now, my father-in-law, nice guy, okay, he's on his fourth wife, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, but he's a nice guy. couple of them died, one he divorced, that whole story. Anyway, bottom line is that he's into his Catholicism, and he felt...
Did you say he ended it or is into it?
He's into it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, he's into it, and he felt it to be really important to be able to take the little wafer. I guess what is that called? Communion.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a cannibalistic ritual, so they actually believe that that's real Jesus flesh and blood that they're eating there. Go ahead.
Well, this was very important to him,
Of course it is.
But he wouldn't do it because he was divorced.
Right.
Okay?
The Catholic Church
And
allows divorced people from taking communion. That is correct.
Right. So he wanted with his next wife, who was more Catholic than he is and more into the Bubameister, as Neil would say,
Yes.
than he is, he wanted to be able to take communion. So he had to go through all these classes and get this and all and that and all right.
Right.
The bottom line is, he wrote checks totaling $6,000.
Oh, I was just going to ask you. That was my next question. All of these procedures that he went through so that he could eat the wafer, those were free, right?
$6,000.
$6,000.
And I tried to tell him. I said, you should just go and do it because you want to do it. And he said, no, I can't do that.
Wow.
He said, that's not right. And I said, you're a good person. You're going to go do great.
It's got nothing to do with it, sir.
Well, I'm just trying to tell you a personal story.
I know.
And I said,
$6,000. Do you know how many Scientology audits that could have bought? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But what I'm getting at is that, even if you don't want to give it to his grandkids, my kids, or some other...
Oh, I know.
I mean, even if you wanted to just go out every day,
yes,
buy a homeless person a meal for the next, 6 years,
it
would have been better than going through all that
You don't get into heaven. You don't get into heaven by feeding the homeless. Thank you very much, sir. $6,000. It's staggering to me. I could get a roof and a half for that. 1228, 560, WQAM.
Jim Mandich talks sports. Weekends right here on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Miami has Don Shula, an asshole all the way.
You jackass.
But then there's Sister Mandich, and I'm afraid to say he's gay.
Yes.
He takes that crap from Shula, and he passes it out at night.
You turd.
If you'd like my opinion, I think his jockstrap's rather light.
Yes.
Because he is Sister Mary Mandich.
Oh!
Sister Mary Mandich. Sister Mary Mandich says kneel down and pray. Yes, it is Sister Mary Mandich. Yes. Like old Mary Mandich. Let's all kneel down and say oi there. Oh!
Sister Mary
Mandich.
Jesus.
So that's totally not what I wanted to play. I just wanted the drop, and that thing came out instead. But oh well, whatever. This is like fake shows until Neil gets back. Hi, Nisi. Hi, Jeannie. Hi, Vivine. Janine. Jason got your name wrong. That's all I can say. Or there's somebody over there that I don't know. And I can't get any tickets for you, Nisi. The only thing I have to offer you is casual sex. 27 till 1 on 560 WQAM. I was just thinking about the lady that called earlier, because she mentioned the wife. And how do I know that she's being faithful and this and that? Like, how do the Christians know? They don't know, because we all know that Christians don't cheat. They never have extramarital affairs. Their relationships, their marriages never end in divorce, even though God joined them together. What God has put together, what God has joined, let no man put asunder, things like that. Christians never get divorced. Catholics, you name it. They never get divorced. So I've got the same thing you've got, lady. Nothing. North Fort Lauderdale. Hello.
Hello. George.
Yes.
Hi, great show, man. I really like the job you're doing.
Thank you.
Hey, I just want to tell you a little bit about my religious experience and see if that kind of weighs into what you're saying as far as the whole religious fervor here.
Go for it.
When I was in, I was 7 or 8 years old, going to Sunday school. I actually went to a private school and all that. I was, my parents were semi-religious, and I was a fairly smart kid, so I questioned things, and unfortunately, that used to get me into a lot of trouble.
That boy, they hate that. They hate questions. Do you realize that questions come from Satan? You understand that, don't you? That's what they told me.
You'll see.
Satan is in my head because I ask questions. Go ahead.
Exactly. Well, one of the main questions I had was, if incest is wrong, which is what they taught us,
right.
It was real big, incest is wrong. It's okay. Well, if Adam and Eve had sex and they had their kids,
right.
where's
we had
the rest of the world come
from?
from?
Yeah.
And they freaked on me.
Of course. You're not supposed to ask those questions.
When my parents came to pick me up from a Sunday school, they called them into the office. I was never allowed to go to that school again.
Ooh.
They didn't say that I wasn't allowed to go there. My parents never told me why, but I was a smart kid, and I put that together.
Of course.
And over the years, whenever any of these religious people start freaking out on me, I would ask them that, and I would either get dead silence and they'd walk away, or they would start screaming at me.
Or they'd start. They don't have any answers for any of the contradictions that riddle that book.
Yep, I can't get past that. I'm not going to listen to anything else they have to say because I can't get past that.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, George.
Thank you very much. Well, there's no saying that Adam and Eve were brother and sister. Oh, I guess they're children. But boy, I've heard every answer about that. Like, where did Cain get his wife when he went to the land of Nod? Where did he get his wife? Oh, there were people there. And a lot of Christians will have told me that, oh, these were the first people, but that doesn't mean that God didn't create other people in other parts of the world after that. The Bible just doesn't mention those people. Oh, well, if that's the case, what else doesn't the Bible mention, like the dinosaurs and everything else? Mobile in Miami, hello.
What's up, George?
Hey,
How
what's
you doing
going on?
today, man? Hey, but can you imagine how far ahead we would be technology-wise if
We'd have at least 500 years. We'd be at least 500 years ahead of where we are.
500 to 800 years
Yep.
because of these religious fanatics saying that science
Destroying
is wrong.
science, destroying scientific evidence, killing scientists.
That is
killing,
from the devil
right.
and witchcraft and this and that. Can
Right.
you imagine how far? We wouldn't even have cars that pollute the atmosphere.
Right.
We follow,
I mean, we can speculate, but it just makes me want to cry when I do that.
500 to 800 years
Yep.
behind we are
Uh-huh.
because of these religious fanatics.
You got it, sir.
I mean, it's mind-boggling.
Because just remember, they're in direct competition. When the scientists appeared on the world and actually started for real answering people's questions, every religion in the world turned against them and persecuted them. And of course, since they ruled, since they were even above the kings of the world in power, or in some cases they were the rulership, like in Egypt, you better believe that the scientific community was persecuted and burned at the stake.
Instead of landing on the moon in 1969, we would have landed on the moon probably in 1820 or something like that. See you later.
Thank you very much.
Nope.
Yep, don't get me going on that. That would that makes me nutty. Mobile in Miami, hello.
Hey, George, can you hear me okay?
I can.
Because I'm standing outside smoking un jointo. Anyways,
Go ahead, sir.
it's very interesting because, like, you were talking about, this guy was just mentioning something in passing about black magic and stuff like that.
Right.
Well,
Voodoo magic.
out of some of the, personal research that I've done throughout my lifelong quest to disprove anything religious and godly,
Mm-hmm.
I have discovered that the black masses and stuff originally, like the very first, which were recorded in Europe, were actually the participants were like high church officials, and the reason for that was they started the black mass as a way of absolving their guilt for all the desires that they were repressing, like sexual desires or even evil deeds, like wanting to kill somebody or something. So all of these things were that's why they started the black mass. And of course later it was adapted by other people who wanted to like any other religion, they wanted to organize it, maybe even get some profit out of it. But
okay, never heard that.
Yeah, that's pretty much where it came from. Like that, like I'm sure you've heard of that Friar Francis Bacon.
Yep.
Well, that guy sold his soul to the devil. I mean, very early. Listen, George, this is very late.
Uh-huh.
But I wanted to do this for you like the first time that you were on the air, but I never got to. So I hope that it hasn't lost its validity.
Uh-huh.
You broke your cherry. Oh.
Okay. I broke my cherry? Oh, I guess the talk show cherry, I guess. All right. Well, thank you very much, sir. Don't do it again. 22 till 1, 560 WQAM.
Give your brain the day off and listen to the big dog, Depot and Goldie. Mornings at 6, only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Ay, Papa Juan Pablo.
I thought Christianity was fairy tale. This religion thing was not for me. They held a big convention, let me in for free. I had no idea what I was about to see. They were speaking in tongues that made me a believer. It was kind of fun to stick it out of my mouth. Speak in tongues. They got me believing, my tongue is weaving from side to side. The Lord will now embrace me. I clap my tongue to the beat. Now, whatever I do, He'll forgive me. 'cause now I speak in tongues. That makes me a believer, and I'm having fun, playing around with my mouth. Yeah, I speak in tongues.
16 till 1560 WQAM. I've got Mono and we've got the Murmurs all queued up if people don't want to call today. I guess I've exhausted the issue perhaps, except for the guy in Weston. Get you in a minute, sir. We got the mobile first, but just in case, we do have lots of music today. But I'm still waiting for someone to accept the clergy challenge. Any contest. You pick the scripture out of the Bible: water walking, water parting, moving a mountain, turning water into wine. You name it, flying. You tell me which contest, and you bring God and religion, and I'll bring science, and let's see who is most effective at accomplishing it. Mobile in Palm Beach. Hello.
Hey, George, how you doing?
All right.
Fascinating show, George. I was a lot like you, but you know what?
And then you got saved.
No. Well, you know where I missed the point, and what was the Catholic Church during crisis time?
There was. What do you mean? Where was the Catholic Church?
Yeah, no, I mean, who was the Catholic Church? Would it be the Pharisees?
No.
Who thought that they were religious and they tried to live by God's laws and
the organized religion at the time was the established Jewish church.
The Jewish, and what did Christ call them?
Huh? He called them hypocrites.
Hypocrites.
Right.
That's what he would call the Catholic Church now.
Right. That's what he would call all of them now.
Of course.
He never again, when Jesus passed the basket, there was food in it for the people, not for them to put money in for him.
George, you're so close. Listen to me. You are so close. Listen, I was just like you. That's where the big problem is. We have our eyes on man, and you don't have them on God. And that's where
I'm not talking about God. I'm talking about the Bible and all of the other religious books and the churches.
Right.
You can have whatever kind of a relationship with God you want. Just leave me alone. Give me the freedom.
I agree with you 100%.
Give me the freedom to worship or not worship as I see fit. Leave me alone to have the kind of relationship with God that I want to have, and keep your religious views out of the law,
of course,
and out of the schools.
If Jesus was here today, he'd be
all
drug addicts. He'd be with the homeless.
Right. He'd be calling me up and right on. He wouldn't be bombing abortion clinics. No, he wouldn't be bombing abortion clinics. He wouldn't be blocking them. He wouldn't be messing with people. He wouldn't be f***ing with anyone. He'd be running around doing good things for people.
Of course.
That's what he would be doing.
That. Don't look at man.
That was the theme of my other religious show.
Okay.
That's all
I'm telling you. What would Jesus do?
Right on, sir. Thank you very much. That was the theme of the other religious show that I did, is how the Christians are not doing what Jesus would have them do. But today, it's science versus Christianity, because or any of the worldly religions. I'm sorry, I just picked Christianity because that's the big one right here, right now. You could apply any religion to the challenge, and they would all fail. They would all come up short. Weston, hello. Enlighten me, sir. Hello, Weston, with the radio on. Let's give this guy time. I really want to speak to this person. There, they just heard me calling for them. Now they're running.
Let me turn the radio off.
Oh, please turn the radio off.
Is it off now?
I don't hear it. You don't hear it. It's off.
Listen, I believe in Christianity. I'm a Catholic, born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
Went away.
Uh-huh.
Came back.
Went away from the church and came back?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what's wrong with that?
Whatever you want, sir. All I asked for very kindly is please give the rest of us who don't want to live our lives according to a bunch of storybooks the ability to do so by not making your religion a part of the law of the land.
Well, no, I agree with that too.
The Constitution clearly states that it should not be.
Well, I agree with that too. I don't think that the government should be involved in schooling in Catholic schools.
Listen, the majority of my family is Catholic. I have other members of my family that are born-again Christian. I have many friends that are of a variety of religions, practically anyone that you can name. We get along with each other just fine. And I think that we can all get along with each other just fine as long as none of us make our policies a part of law. Law should be based on reality and things that can be proven. If you can't prove it, don't bring it to the table. That's all. Don't bring it to the legal table.
Well, I agree with that. They should mix. The government screws enough
By all
stuff
means, it's freedom of religion, and which should also include freedom from religion for those of us who want to, use our brain and our five senses to get through life, and not a storybook, or not your storybook.
Well, you're telling me I'm not using my brain and my five senses, which I take offense to. I don't say anything about you not believing. You can choose what you want.
My point is that's what
but
I use.
Don't go on the air telling everybody your side and not giving somebody an opportunity to tell their side.
By all means, use your side. I understand that you use your brain and your five senses to believe in what you believe in, but that's all I use. Do you understand? I don't put stock in a storybook. If you want to do so, then go right ahead.
Okay, and you can do as you choose too, which is fine.
And we'll keep. And
but don't go on the radio trying to say the other side and it's so great and right and it's the right way and you have all these facts.
Well, you know what? I'll go on the radio and say whatever the hell I want, sir, because they stuck a microphone in my face. How's that? Don't you call up my radio show and tell me what I can go on the radio saying. West Palm, hello. Hello, West Palm.
Hey, how you doing, George?
I'm doing all right.
You had it a little off a little earlier when you said that the scientists were wrong, and that's how you were talking on the air. It's the grace of God.
I didn't say the scientists were wrong. What are you talking about?
No, you just had your premise a little off. You said the scientists were wrong, and that's why nobody's car works.
I was being sarcastic.
Yeah, well, their position is that it's the grace of God that allows your airwaves to be working.
No, there's no question. Absolutely.
Yeah. I was wondering about I was talking to you, or not listening to you a while back, and you said you got married against your better judgment, you and your wife.
Yes.
And I was wondering why you did that. Was that a religious pressure?
Because the society that we live in makes it very difficult not to be married when you have a child and when you live in the same household and when you want to have community property. There really isn't an easy and convenient option for people who just want to have a partnership in life as opposed to a God-blessed, God-ordained kind of a religious farcical union. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I couldn't just do a mail order thing. What is it?
This is the country that was supposed to be based on the separation of church and state, correct?
Amen, brother.
You know?
It makes it very difficult. See, the easiest way for us to make our property community property and protect her rights and give her the right to plan my funeral when I die and automatically inherit everything that's in my name if I should die. The convenientest way, did I say that right? For us to do that was to take a limo to a chapel in Vegas. It was under $100, the whole procedure, and it was quick and easy, and then we went to dinner afterwards, and we didn't want to resort to that, but that was the easiest, cheapest way to do it.
Yeah, the other thing I was wondering about is you look at these religious people, and they say, I have a 2,000-year-old book, and science has proved most of it wrong.
Right.
But you choose to believe this 2,000-year-old book instead of the proof that's on the table.
And
you are God.
In the face of piles and piles of evidence to the contrary, yes.
Right. So are they just like recruiting the least intelligent people in the world?
No, just remember, like they told me in sales class, people make emotional decisions. Very few people use their brain to make the decisions of their life. Their decisions are made by their emotions, the way that any other animals are, and they use their brain to justify the decisions that their emotions cause them to make so that they won't feel bad about the decision that they just made. That's how most people's brains work. So when they make the emotional decision to believe in a fantasy story that makes them feel good, they use their brain to justify it because that continues to allow them to feel good. Do you know what I'm saying? Or that allows them to continue to feel good. Because once they bring their brain into it, then it causes conflict inside their head. The discomfort arises out of that, the way that it did with me, and then you no longer feel good.
Yeah, it just seems like people trying to cheat Darwinism or something.
They don't want to accept reality because reality isn't as pleasant a picture as the fantasy that they've bought. And thank you very much, sir.
Thanks.
You're very welcome. It's all an emotional decision. You do have, on occasion, very intelligent people, at least to high IQ, I should say, that believe this crap. And the bottom line is they don't use their brain. They never bring their brain into the picture. They never bring their brain to bear and apply their brain to this problem. They attach themselves to a philosophy and a concept that gives them comfort, that makes them feel good, and they will not allow their brain to go on a thought journey that will cause conflict for them and cause them to doubt. And many of them have convinced themselves that negative thoughts, doubts, questions, and things of that nature come from Satan. And as soon as a question crops into their head, they go through whatever brain ritual they have for purging the question as opposed to pursuing the answer. Miami, hello. Hello, Miami.
Yes. This
yes.
is Mike from Miami.
Hi, Mike from Miami.
I heard you in an earlier show comment that
you were, most likely quoting or have read the King James Version of the Bible.
I've read the King James Version of the Bible, yes, and also the Latin Bible to an extent.
Okay, well, in reference to that, I would like to help some Christians out.
Oh, by all means.
Corinthians, those with belief alone will be in this life most miserable. And then getting back to just about every other page of the New Testament, Jesus is quoted in saying, "The kingdom of heaven is within you." And I'm the God of the living, and only being alive can you reach the kingdom of heaven.
Okay.
So the kingdom of heaven is within you. It's not in the sky. It's not after you die. You can only get to this kingdom of heaven when you're alive.
Okay.
Because it's within you.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Now we know where heaven is. It's within us. But Jesus said a lot of things. Like if you look at a woman with lust, you've already committed adultery in your heart. So we are adulterous. We are adulterous bastards, Joe. You and I, every minute of every day.
You are.
I am. Oh, you don't have lust for the women that walk past you.
Define adultery.
Do you have lust? In other words, when an attractive woman, let's not name any names here in the building, walks by, you don't have lust. You don't pop wood.
Sure, I have lust.
Well, that's adultery. Right?
I'm not committed to anyone else.
You are adulterer. You are an adulterer.
I'm a freelancer right now. I can do what I want.
You can't see that's premarital sex, though. Even the fantasy is premarital sex. So you've committed adultery in your heart.
What if I want to marry her?
You can't lust after her until after you're married. Mobile in North Miami. Hello.
Hey, George.
Turn the radio off, please.
I just did.
Thank you, sir.
First off, Adam and Eve, it's obvious to those who believe, and I do believe. I'm not trying to change your beliefs or what you believe. I respect you for what you believe. But anyhow, Adam and Eve had children. Adam lived 980 years.
That's what the Bible says.
That's what the Bible says. And you have to remember that book was written by people, by men. And
by men, right, with an agenda. Barbaric men who took knives to their genitals. Go ahead.
There are a lot of people who believe that do good. As Neil said, do no harm.
They're good people. See, I've known lots of good people before, during, and after their bouts with Christianity, and they were good in spite of whatever. Go ahead.
So anyway.
My point is keep it out of the law. Keep church and state separate. Don't make my tax dollars pay for your crap. That's all. We can get along just fine.
I agree with you 110%.
Thank you very much, sir, and God bless you. 4 minutes till 1, 560 WQAM.
This is 560 QAM.
Hello, this is Arnold. This is not a tumor. It's the 1 to 2 hour.
Do you ever wish that your family and friends knew their Bible verses better? Well, I have the answer to your prayers. From the makers of You Sank My Martyr comes a game the whole family can enjoy, Crucifixion. Crucifixion is not just fun to play, but it forces everyone to know their Bible. And it's easy to play. First, someone picks a word or phrase from the Bible, and the rest of the group takes turns trying to spell it. But be careful. If you pick a wrong letter, your little Jesus doll gets nailed.
I'll take a guess. How about a K?
Nope. Sorry, Billy.
I'm sorry, Jesus.
After 3 nails and 1 spear to the chest, everyone loses. But don't worry, in 3 days you can play again. So run down to your local Crucifixion toy store and grab up your very own copy of Crucifixion. Why not play tonight? Comes with a small Jesus doll, nails, and a tiny spear. Fake blood, wooden cross, and hammer not included. Crucifixion, a product of Trinity Brothers.
102.560 WQAM. Don't forget that WQAM invites you to catch all the action of the Fort Lauderdale Air and Sea Show this weekend from the Howard Johnson's Hotel located on Fort Lauderdale Beach. Lots of QAM activities from the QAM van which will be parked right in front of the Hojo Hotel. For room information, call the Fort Lauderdale Beach Howard Johnson's at 954-563-2451. And as the whoring of the show continues, thanks again to Unsubbed at 95 Northwest 1st Avenue. Yummy subs and salads enjoyed by all, and smoothies. And now we have Baskin-Robbins in the lobby, apparently, that heard me talking about the cappuccino, whatever the hell they were, that got me all wired up this morning and making a lot of mistakes. So they're back with more. And hey, what the hell? the old man's not here, so we're going to whore the show big time and hop up as much free stuff as we can. And Joe Costello wants to know where the escort service is for us. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale, hello.
George.
Yes.
Hey, what's going on, man? Great show, man.
Going on. Thank you very much. Mono coming up later on this hour. Go ahead.
Excellent, man. I've got a real problem with like these religious revivalists who were once like ex-junkies and then all of a sudden had a bad trip and boom, Jesus found
them. Just remember something. The people with addictive personalities only go from one addiction to another. All they can do is replace addiction in their life. They can't remove addiction. They just replace it with one thing or another. So that's the explanation for that.
Right on, George. Hey, good show, man. Take it easy.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, the lady yesterday requested mono, so I've got Playboys coming up later by mono. And I still haven't heard this on any radio station, including KPX. Speaking of them, did I ask this question on the air yet? What's going on with them after 7 o'clock? They become NSU Radio, Nova Southeastern?
Nova Southeastern, where yours truly used to DJ.
Oh, yeah?
Back when it was WNKR Cable FM.
Well, that's excellent. That's fat, because now instead of going off at 7 o'clock, they actually have some alternative on in the evening.
Yes, the only thing is that the Nova guys are a little more fragmented. You got your blues guy, and you got your,
Yeah, whatever.
Pretty good studios over there at Nova. They had some good stuff.
I'm just glad that they don't go off at 7. That was very frustrating to me. Going around in the evening, and in Broward, you can't really pick up VUM even after their power increase a few years ago. And that sucked, and I missed it. And now we have something evening. So that just covers the whole rest of the night?
I think it goes till 2 a.m.
Okay,
we used to go to till 2 a.m. when I used to work there.
Okay, well, that's great. Anyway, KPX 88.5 in Broward County. Mobile in Fort Lauderdale, hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, going back to the days of Moses.
Yes, sir.
When
Moses the child killer, yes.
Okay. When the Jews
his words, not mine.
When the Jews were leaving Egypt.
Yes.
And laws were handed down, and besides the Ten Commandments, there were a whole lot of other laws given.
Absolutely.
Right. Some of these laws, for instance, applied to for instance, the burning of clothes after somebody is deceased, the washing of hands after handling that person.
Sacrificing 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons during each menstrual cycle for women, as far as being separate and not sitting on any furniture and etc. Yes.
The point I'm trying to make is that they didn't have any knowledge of microorganisms back then, and that hand washing was
We've all heard this over and over again. It's a lot easier. All right, let's just say that there were very clever people that figured out certain things were unhealthy. It's much easier to get people to do what you want them to do when you tell them that God said so instead of I said so. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they said that God said these things. I think that they were a very intelligent and clever people who did discover that some practices were unhealthy, and in order to add extra leverage to what they were saying, they just said, look, God said so don't argue with God.
Okay. So where do you think that insight came from? As far as nobody else in the world was
the same,
using universal precautions at that time.
Little by little, man got smarter. They figured out that having intercourse produced children.
Yeah, but it took centuries and centuries after that before we even came to realize. Even the Middle Ages didn't even know that.
The human race has existed for 6 million years. Civilized history started 6,000 years ago. So we've got 6 million years minus 6,000 years where the human race just kept getting smarter and smarter and smarter and learned how to write.
Okay, I understand all that. Okay, let's go Darwin's theory, okay?
Darwin's
theory. You're going from the Cro-Magnon to the next step, right? Now,
well, you go to get from one step, I don't have the evolutionary chart memorized.
Well, neither do I, really, but
right.
To go from one step to another, I guess you're going to need a whole lot of mutations, right?
Or one significant one, yes.
Right. That's you need probably millions of them to get from one level to the other.
Not necessarily millions, thousands.
Okay, and where are these millions and thousands of mutations?
They're fossilized, and they found them, and they're in museums. They have every.
I think they might have found 1, 2, or 3, maybe, and then they've debated.
Sir, there are hundreds, if not thousands, of prehistoric man skeletons at various stages of completion. And at various stages of evolution, depending on how deep.
I'd like to see the literature.
This is a fact. Then go to a library, sir. Instead of going to church, go to a library. You can go to the Museum of Natural History in New York and see lots of incompletely constructed skeletons. And there's like one skeleton that some people, knee-jerk people, thought that they were going to make some bucks and claimed that it was a caveman skeleton, and it turned out to be an arthritic ape. And that's what all of the Christians and all of the religionists point to when they want to discount evolution. They said, they're all arthritic apes. There was one. that turned out not to be a caveman. It was an arthritic ape. It wasn't found anywhere in the levels that caveman skeletons are found, etc., and so on. Yes.
But what about the missing link?
The missing link. There are no links that are missing, you realize. There are no missing links.
Well, what's this missing link that they've been searching for?
No one is searching for a missing link. We have found all of the links. The chain is complete. It's the Christians that keep talking about missing links, missing links. It's just because what you hear about when you hear people talking about the missing link is we have chimpanzees and other apes, right? We have gorillas and orangutans and gibbons, right? We have all of those apes, and then we have man. The common misconception is that these creatures, the apes that are in existence today, were the ancestors of man, and these creatures turned into man. We didn't evolve from these apes. We evolved with these apes. We evolved from a common ancestor. We shared genetic material with them. They are family. We didn't come from them. We came with them through history. We came from a common ancestor that had offspring. Some of the offspring became the apes that we have today, and some of the offspring became us. We're not talking about the rock group. We're talking about the descendants. And they have every stage. And you know what? They find different sublinks every year. They find another skeleton that fits nicely into a little niche between, caveman A and caveman B. There's caveman A and a half, and every so often, every year or so, sometimes a few times a year, they'll find another skeleton that fits very nicely in the nice evolutionary chain, which is established, which is proven, which is a matter of fact, and you can deny it all you want, but where is the evolutionary evidence? Oh, you don't have any? Now we're back to the beginning of the show. 1209, 560 WQAM.
Jim Mandich talks sports. Weekends right here
all right.
On Sports Radio 560 QAM.
What the hell? What is it? Wait a minute. What is this?
My anus. 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 My anus.
Hi, kids. Y'all like cutting little stinkers? That funny little sound that comes right out your sphincter? Want to copy me and do exactly like I do? Get paid for writing little songs about boo-boo? My brain's all gone. I'm trying to get my groove on, but I can't figure out which Spice Girl I'm going to fart on. And Dr. Dre asked, yo, man, did you pass gas? Hell no. Why do I smell ass? Man, you low class. Well, since age 12, it seemed like I always smelled like pot-ripping gases and tooting was pretty swell. I got pissed off when I took my jeans off and farted so hard it turned my underwear backwards like crisscross. And every night I'm like, oh, dinner at last. Then fart out my ass faster than a fat bitch who ate too fast. Smell this, honey. Yo, dude, wait a minute. That's my girl, cuz. I don't give a fuck. God sent me to stink the world up. My anus. My anus. My anus. My anus. My anus. My anus. My English teacher wanted me kicked out back in junior high. Said the problem was something crawled up my ass and died. I shot him in the face with my vapor. The worst happened later when I covered his desk with used toilet paper. Walked in the strip club, my intestines were filled up. Moved the bartender, took a dump in a tip cup. Went over to a dancer, had her fuck in her garter. She lifted her leg up, and I knew she was a farter. 99% of my life I was lied to. I just found out my mom's got more gas than I do. I told her I'd grow up to be a famous rapper, make a record about strange noises made on the crapper. You know you blew dirt when the women rushed to leave. You tried to hold it back, but your butt needed relief. This guy at White Castle said it was pretty cool, but I had to go drop the kids off at the pool. My anus, 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 my anus,
116, 560 WQAM. We're sucking on the Cappuccino Blast. And I didn't know they were giving these away today, so that's why we're whoring the show. They're sponsors, so we have to. That's our excuse, and we're sticking to it. You can get a free one at any of the 60 South Florida participating Baskin-Robbins. I have to say participating. I assume they all are. I'd call first. Anyway, you can get a free one from 5 to 10 p.m. at any Baskin-Robbins. Just go up and get yours. What?
It's their 5-year anniversary.
It's the 5th anniversary of the Cappuccino Blast. is what it says on this horror copy over here that I'm supposed to read, but I'm not going to read the whole thing. So they're going to be giving away 4.7 million free cappuccino blasts, which is enough to fill 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. I don't know what that has to do with anything, but nevertheless, go to Baskin-Robbins, get a cappuccino blast. I'm sucking one down now. They're really yummy. If I start to get a big phlegm ball, you'll know why. Mobile and Mamie Beach. Mamie Beach is what Joe spelled.
Hey, George, what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
I just want to take this one step further. If either Jesus is the Son of God and all this is real, or he and his disciples have portrayed the biggest hoax on mankind has ever seen.
Not just them, but all of the religious authors, but let's just talk about them for now.
Yeah, it started out with, what were they thinking when they said, hey, let's put all this together, let's make this prophecy come true?
Well, they were thinking Jesus is dead now, and so nobody's going to listen to us unless we write all this stuff down and make copies and pass it around and somehow, validate the stuff that he said. That's what they're thinking. They wanted to continue the church that Jesus supposedly started, which he had no intention of making a splinter group, at least according to history. Hey, Mark Mosley. Good to see you, man. PJ's was great last night. Was any of your voice on there?
Yeah.
Absolutely? That was great. That's a funny show.
3 more coming.
Yeah?
Yeah, 3 new ones.
Great. Good for you. That's good that you got on a funny show, an actually funny show.
How about that? I had nothing to do with it being funny.
Oh, I understand that. You're just holding up your end. Oh, no, that wasn't a shot.
Hey, I'm
Dude, that was not.
Today.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
I got one of these cappuccino blasts.
Cappuccino blast.
From Baskin-Robbins.
Let's suck up appropriately. I just played the Maena song. I can't believe you guys won't play that on the morning show.
It's not, it's good, but
I understand. No, it's exclusively ours. That's all right. That's all right. We'll get you something else, something a little bit more cleaner than Maena's.
George, in closing?
I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. I forgot you were still there.
Okay, and in closing, thanks a lot. Great show. I love all your shows, and Prince Planet rules.
Okay. Prince Planet rules. Thank you very much. I hope I don't see Adam today. I keep forgetting to bring those tapes in. And if anyone out there knows where I can get some decent copies of Prince Planet, by all means, I'll pay money. Speaking of paying money, the lasers finally showed up. If you want a laser, fax us at 305-650-0198. Hey, what the hell? I got all these lasers. We're going to hawk them. We could hawk them on the website because I'm just as cheap as Al Goldstein. I didn't want to pay retail for the lasers that I want to give to the friends, so I ordered a whole bunch. And if we get some faxes, I'll forward them along to Al if we run out of the lasers that we have here. But Joe's going to take some. They're the coolest thing. Again, more of the power of science. You can have a laser in your pocket, like I have one in my briefcase. I have a rocket in my pocket and a laser in my briefcase.
You're not even giving it justice.
I'm building over here. To the best part of the laser is the assortment of the caps that go on it that say everything from oh, geez, I'm on the wrong bank. Sorry about that. They say F you. They project it on the wall as big as life. The further away you are, the bigger it is, with no diminishing brightness, by the way. I lit up the neighbor's house across the canal, lit up their yard. It was as big as the side of the house, and it was as big, and it lit up their whole yard with a great big F you. And then I also have the the eat and you suck, and what else is there besides the finger, which is my favorite? Just a picture of the middle finger. What else?
There's for the soft-hearted, I love you.
Oh, yeah, there's the I love you in symbolic language and wingding language and everything else. And they're great things. And Al Goldstein's talking them on the Screw website. But we've got some here. I'll forward them along to Al if you want one. Mobile in Weston, hello.
Hey, George?
Yes.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Hey, I have a theory about how I could prove that Jesus walked on water.
Okay.
All right. Actually, I really don't believe it. But anyway, here's my theory.
Is this one of those jokes? Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, Jesus and Moses were all sitting around, and Moses wanted to figure out how he could press the women.
Okay. I'd love to hear the end. Oh, no. I wouldn't love to hear the end. 120 on QAM. Margate, hello.
Hey, George.
Hey.
Good show.
Thank you.
I just want to let you know that you really need to take a look at the photo on page 12A of today's Sun Sentinel.
Okay. I've got it right here.
Goes right along with what we're saying.
I didn't even look at the Sun Sentinel. I grabbed one, but there was enough meat in the Herald. Well, actually, there was nothing in there.
When I look at a photo like that, although I'm not a Catholic anymore, I'm just glad I was brought up Catholic, because I'd hate to be following that religion and that poor son of a bitch.
That was a source of great entertainment for me when I was a young kid, growing up Catholic. Is this the modern martyrs beating themselves bloody?
That's
oh my God! All right, thank you very much, sir.
All right, see you.
These are Muslims. These are Pakistani Shiite Muslims cutting themselves during an Ashura procession in Karachi on Tuesday, and they've got scissors and knives and things like that, and they're hacking each other on the head, much the same way that the priests and Catholics do in Latin American countries with the flailing of the chains. All right, we got our shirts. Thank you very much, Cappuccino and Baskin Robbins. Look, I'm drinking it. We're talking about it.
He's taking a picture as well.
He's going to take a picture? Here, take a picture of me holding it. Smiling. One moment, please. All right. This wasn't one of the cups that has the stickers on it, though. I'll just write Baskin Robbins on it. Payphone in Coral Gables. Hello. Payphone in the Gables.
Hey, George.
Hey, how are you?
Great show today.
Thank you.
Hey, listen, one of the things that annoys me most about religion, aside from the money collecting aspect of it, is the concept of forgiveness, divine forgiveness.
Yes.
That's a crutch that a lot of people use, throughout history. They've used to get away with a lot of things, and
to alleviate their guilty conscience or to raise funds.
No. I mean the fact that all the major religions, whether it's Christianity, Judaism, Islam, they all hold out this offer of forgiveness, that you can basically do things wrong to other people.
Oh, I know.
And cause problems, but just as long as you ask God's forgiveness, you'll be all right.
Exactly, which goes totally against my philosophy of if you're an asshole, burn in hell, asshole.
I mean, I believe you got to answer for the things you do in this life.
Absolutely, and they give you an out, because just remember, the church doesn't care if you're an asshole. They just want the money going into the plate. So they'll give you as if they can bring forgiveness to you. As if they can somehow wave their hand and you are no longer an asshole. But understand, they don't care who's bringing the money to the plate.
Not at all. I work in my office. I'm the hello.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. In my office, I'm the only non-Catholic in there, and I'm by far the most. And in terms of our business practices and stuff, I'm definitely the most moral and ethical person there. And because I don't believe that I can get away with things. They lie, they cheat, they steal, and they just think they can go to church and confess it all, and it's all wiped away. No problem. See, I don't have that option to go for somebody to relieve me of my guilt if I do something wrong. So I don't do things like that to begin with, or I try not to anyways.
Okay. Amen, brother. But that's exactly right. Sorry. Like I said, I got to work on that whole cutting people off thing. All right, I'm going to take the break a little early because the song that I want to play is a little long, and we'll play it after the break. So 124 on 560 WQAM.
Ed Kaplan knows the scores, starting at 10 till the last game ends. Weeknights only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
560 WQAM.
Understand there will be no sadness.
you people on hold, hang on, because I want to play this whole thing. I'm reading faxes and sucking on a cappuccino glass. So anyway, that's Mono, Playboys from Formica Blues. I have no idea what radio station is or would play that. But nevertheless, it's all good. It's about like that. It's if you like Portishead or that kind of stuff, electronic, retro, that's what that stuff all is. I'm reading Chris's faxes here. Let me answer these questions in out of order. No, Adam and Eve did not have belly buttons. The Jews are going to heaven. You can be an agnostic is what I think you are there, Chris, because if you don't believe, see, the atheist believes something definitive, and that is that there's nothing out there, which I think is an exercise in futility to convince yourself about the absence of things. All of the evidence, well, let me put it like the other guy said, the caller said, none of the evidence points to a divine, big, sentient being. There is no evidence to support that. So until there is, we do not, consider that as an option. That's the mentality that I've got over here. And the other point, which, and by the way, I do care also. I don't know where we came from, but I do care. I have questions. I would like to have them answered. I am curious, George, but the only way that we're going to get the answers to any questions is through science. The religious people, the book thumpers, whatever book they're thumping, whatever pulpit they're spouting from, they have not answered any questions. All they do is recycle and regurgitate ancient rhetoric. So there you go. And what was the other thing here? Oh, yeah, there are a lot of religions that do allow for the salvation through other religions, but most do not. And the funniest thing that you'll ever hear is to hear two fundamentalist Christians, pardon me, belch, is to hear two fundamentalist Christians argue about the fate of the Jews. Because the Bible says very clearly in the Old Testament that they're the chosen people and they're going to heaven. But then Jesus also said, no one cometh unto the Father but by me. So it's hysterical to watch them go at it, discussing whether or not the Jews have a back door into heaven. Actually, Jesus is the back door into heaven. The Jews are going right in the front door if you believe the Bible. Fort Lauderdale, hello. Fort Lauderdale, hello. and goodbye. Let's try Miami Lakes. Lakes. Boy, these buttons.
Hello, George?
Hey, yes.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Good. Getting back to the argument on, I don't know who brought up the question about the differences between, let's say, the hominids, the apes, and then the humans, and why...
The what and the what?
Well, the hominids, the apes, and in relation to the humans.
Yes.
Okay. Most of the argument that the creationists bring up to the table is, well, why aren't there any subspecies of humans around? And there's a very clear answer to that question.
Mm-hmm.
If we go back 40 to 50,000 years ago, according to records, fossil records of early humans, the Cro-Magnons, which were the populace in the southern region of India and northern eastern part of Africa, and we take the northern population of northwestern Europe, which were basically Neanderthal.
Right. But now they're telling us to say Neanderthal.
Well,
I'm never going to get used to that.
Tomato.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, if you take the way that...
And by the way, they still don't know what happened to the Neanderthals. We could have been with them. They could be extinct,
Well, basically, if they didn't interbreed, we eventually, the Cro-Magnon, which is the Homo sapien...
Right.
We eventually wiped them off the surface of the planet.
Right, a more effective species.
We are a more effective. We were
extinct. That's where all the cavemen, all the subclasses of humans went. Is every time that there was a new generation, a little bit smarter, a little bit faster, it wiped out the previous generation.
So exactly. So it's
like all of the other animals that went extinct. As soon as another animal came into their environment that was better able to fill their their environmental niche. Right.
Exactly. We are we were the pre-selected predator, take advantage of the planet.
Right, they were in direct competition with our race, and they had to go.
Exactly. Now we can argue all day about why are there still chimpanzees or why there's still gorillas.
They evolved into their environment, and they evolved bodies and brains that
and they haven't changed.
Environment, and they haven't changed.
They haven't changed for millions of years.
They haven't changed for as many years as we have.
Exactly. And just to prove a point, back a few years ago, they would even deny the fact that animals cannibalized each other, and it has been proven that, especially chimpanzees, which are
they're notorious cannibals.
They are notorious in going into other territories in hunting parties.
Yes,
looking for the young
monkeys. Chimpanzees will hunt other monkeys.
Exactly.
And eat them.
Exactly, and the actual brain food that went into their development of their brain is bone marrow.
Right, meat.
Have a good one, George.
All right, thank you very much. And it's break time, 21 till 2, 560 WQAM.
Give your brain the day off and listen to the big dog, Depot and Goldie. Mornings at 6, only on Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Why are the pretty ones always insane?
Oh, John. Oh, John.
Well, when he was alive back in 1489, he was a little guy who stood 4'5", kind of round and pasty with a couple of chins, and he was in charge of the Vatican, Pope John.
Pope John, Pope John,
Pope Pius John. You see, the popes and priests would get married back then and spread the money round to their offspring and kin. So the bankers at the Vatican, they married his sin, and that posed a problem for his husband and him, Pope John. The scandalous secret he didn't confess was that he was a pregnant girl under that dress. Back then they all dressed in drag, that helped keep it hidden, because if anyone found out, he'd lose the gig, Pope John.
Pope John, Pope John,
Pope Pius John. One windy day, his dress blew up in the dust, and someone yelled, "Hey, that guy has no nuts!" And like Marilyn Monroe, his skirt billowed high, and everyone knew it was the end of the line for Pope John. Embarrassed and worried, the bank would go broke. The Vatican chimneys belched out holy smoke. From history, spin doctors had this erased not long after they had discreetly replaced Pope John.
Pope John. Pope John.
Pope Pius John. They buried him or her out of public view in a tomb held together with scotch tape and glue. These few words are written on his tomb. We pray that everybody will forget about you, Pope John.
Pope John. Pope John.
Pope Pius John.
14 till 2, 560 WQAM. I don't care what that guy in Miami says. Boca Brian's a freaking genius. Davey, hello. Hello, Davey.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Hey, listen, since you tend to put a lot of reliance on science, let me give you...
That's all we've got, sir.
Well, no, it's not.
We have storybooks also, but, you pick what you want.
Okay, well, let me give you a little science that will help support my storybook.
Okay.
When Charles Darwin came up with his theory of evolution,
yes,
and by the way, it still is a theory.
No, but go ahead.
He based his theory on the fact that, or the supposition, that all life as we know it came from the spontaneous generation of a single cell, which he deemed to be the simplest form of life on Earth at that time. Well, with the advancement of electron microscopes, what science has found recently is that there is actually a cell in existence that is even simpler than the one Charles Darwin based his theory on.
Uh-huh.
And to put this in perspective for you, the DNA structure of a human being has enough information on it to fill volumes of encyclopedias that would fill Joe Robbie Stadium. And the information in this cell that science has recently discovered has enough DNA information in it to fill, say, 10 volumes of encyclopedias, which is still a lot of information.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what the scientists did was they fed this information into a computer model to find out or to theorize how long it would take for this cell to spontaneously generate in exactly the order the DNA structure was in. And what they found was that it would take another 10,000 years from today for that cell to spontaneously generate, which means you and I would not be in existence if the theory of evolution were to hold true.
So what you've got is pseudoscience and stuff that you read somewhere by some pseudoscientists about some cell that I never met, and we go back to the original question, where is the evidence to support what you've got? Again, and I said it at the beginning of the show, the only thing that the world religions can do is take shots at the material, and I do mean material, that science has provided us with. Where is your material, sir? See, all you're doing is shooting shots at Darwin.
You're
taking shots at Darwin, who didn't have a microscope and based his conclusions on observations that he made in the galactic.
I'm going to tell you where you can get the information. Uh-huh. I can't give you the scientific publication that it's in, but I can tell you who can. I got this information from a convention that was put on here.
Sir, understand this: by disproving whatever science has given us to date does not prove your point.
But it doesn't disprove my point either.
It doesn't disprove your point, but the people on the
pulpit,
the people standing behind the pulpit, sir, are making specific claims, and they're expecting us to take their word for it. Some of us don't want to take their word for it. Some of us want a little bit more than the guy in the funny dress and the funny collar says so.
Yeah, but the problem is when you find out the truth, it might be just too late. That's really what.
Oh, is that what it is? When you find out the truth, it might be too late. Well, when you find out the truth, it might be too late for you also. Like your life will be over, and you'll realize that you wasted it basing your life on a storybook.
You know what?
Instead of going through life dealing with things as
Can I say something? Can I say something?
By all means, please.
All I've done, if I'm wrong, all I've done is wasted a lifetime.
Right.
But if I'm right, you've wasted eternity.
I have no fear of death, and I have no fear of going before the throne of whatever is up there and explaining how I lived my life.
Well,
I have a great deal of confidence in what I will say to the Supreme Being if and when I meet him face to face.
Okay. Well, again, that's great.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good luck to you too. Because God made me. He knows what's in my head. He knows my heart. He knows my conscience. If He's there, and I live my life the way that I believe that He would have me live my life, if He's there or if He's not there, because it's all the same. Whether or not God exists makes no difference in how I lead my life, because I lead my life doing, like Neil says, do no harm. I am as helpful as I can possibly be, as I can afford to be to the people around me. I go to great lengths to not harm the people around me. I am a support, a bastion of support, a pillar, a marble post to the people around me, to my friends. Joe Costello can attest. Have I ever turned anyone down for anything that you know of?
No.
No.
Never.
Never. And that's how I go through life. And I can do no better, and neither can anyone else. And I will be judged accordingly, and so will everyone else, if there is a judgment day. And I'll say it again. The people who have the most to fear from God on Judgment Day are the people taking money in His name, because He didn't tell you to do that. The people standing up there telling other people how to live their lives according to what God supposedly told them. They're liars, and they are in the most danger of anyone in the world. 9 till 2, 560 WQAM.